Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if someone actually helped Naruto when he was younger. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Konoha, or the Hidden Leaf Village, was a prosperous and very open-minded village and was assumed to be the strongest of the hidden villages since the end of the Third Great Ninja War. At least until the Kyuubi attack on October 10th. On this day, countless lives were lost, including the Yondaime Hokage. With this loss, depression struck the village. Not only had they lost their military power and leader, some lost everything. Children were placed in orphanages as the days pasted. However, there was one child who was born on that day. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. The Yondaime had to seal half of the Kyuubi inside of Naruto, and take the other half with him to the grave. The Sandaime, after coming out of retirement, made a law that the younger generation could never know about his burden. That didn't, however, stop the villagers and some of the shinobi to torture, stab, belittle, and abuse Naruto. He became the village pariah and many believed he was the reincarnation of the Kyuubi. In another world, this was his life for 12 years. Never knowing the love of a mother or getting acknowledgement of a father. Never even know what love was exactly until he was an adult. He is known as the Leaf No. 1 hyperactive knucklehead ninja. But in this world, he is aware of his surroundings and is just playing dumb. A raven-haired mother of 2 showed him what compassion was and gave him something he would have gone without if not for her. An actual purpose. Not just stating he'll be Hokage. While they never said they were friends, they knew it to be true. These 3 were unspoken friends from the day they made a promise to each other. Wait. Where the heck did the lavender-eyed girl come from? -6 years after the Kyuubi attack. Within the Hidden Leaf Village, a 6-year-old boy with spiky blonde hair was. Get him! You won't get away this time, demon! Running for his life. Why, thought the boy as he ran from the small mob behind him. Why do they hate me? This boy's name is Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Not that he knew this due to the Third's law about his status never revealed to him. Naruto sighed mentally as he turned into an alley but stopped as he realized it was a dead-end. Crap. There he is. We have you now. Demon brat, you cost me everything. Now you die. Naruto barely turned and proceeded to assume the fetal position, waiting for the stabbing and excruciating pain to start. But it never came. He thought as he looked up. When he did, he saw a female ANBU with a dove mask. He could tell she was a she due to his knowledge of genders. That and the long raven-colored hair. The few shinobi in the mob glared at Dove while the civilians just gulped. Get out of the way! One of them yelled. Obviously not the brightest one among them. Dove spoke in a monotonous tone, sending chills down some of the civilians' backs. You will cease your current actions and leave this area. One of the braver shinobi started walking towards Dove. Oh yeah? And what are you going to do? He would never finish that sentence due to the kunai that lodged itself into his neck. This is your final warning. Failure to comply will be met with force, Dove said with her arm extended. The civilians and shinobi gulped as she was still speaking in a neutral voice. They knew that if she killed one of them, she would bat an eye at kill them all. So they did the most logical thing they could collectively think of. They ran as if Anko was after them. Dove lowered her arm and turned to face Naruto, who had lost consciousness soon after she arrived. She sighed as she went over and picked him up. Let's get you home. With that, she shined to Naruto's apartment, which was given to him a year after getting thrown out of the orphanage, placed him on the bed, and shined to ANBU headquarters to make her report. Later, Umbu HQ locker room. Dove sighed as she sat on one of the benches in the ANBU locker room. I know that sigh. What's wrong, Mikoto? Mikoto Uchiha, mother of 2 and wife to Fugaka Uchiha. Mikoto sighed as she removed her mask. I thought I told you to call me by my ANBU codename. Dolphin. Another ANBU, now identified as Dolphin, sat down next to her. You did. I just choose not to. Mikoto rolled her eyes as she set her dove mask on her lap. Dolphin continued, so what's up? Mikoto looked at her mask. Naruto got attacked again. Dolphin sighed. Was he hurt? Mikoto shook her head. No. Dolphin nodded. Good. For the past year, Dove and Dolphin have been Naruto's protection detail. Since they were put on the job, they've stopped 41 mob attacks, 17 assassins, and 1 arsonist. Unfortunately, this is just a small fraction of what has been done to Naruto that they couldn't stop. Mikoto sighed. Yeah, a peaceful silence was there for a few minutes until she spoke again. Hey Dolphin. Yeah? I'm thinking about retiring from ANBU and from being a ninja. What? Makoto looked at him. You heard me. Dolphin, if he had his mask of so she could see his face, had a confused and frustrated expression. But what about Naruto? I can't protect him alone. Makoto chuckled. There are more experienced ANBU who could help. In fact, ask Dog. I'm sure he'd help. Dolphin sighed. That's not the point. Naruto has grown to trust us. He even called you Dove Nachan last month. Also, why after 7 years do you decide now to leave? Makoto ran a hand through her hair. I need to do something for Naruto that I can't do in ANBU. And what would that be? Dolphin said, as he was now curious. To fulfill a little prediction Kushina and I made 6 years ago. Dolphin, who was hard to surprise, was shocked. Ever since Kushina's death 6 years ago, every ANBU learned that bad-mouthing her was taboo around Makoto unless said person would want extensive injuries. Talking about Kushina just brings Makoto down and therefore puts her into a ticking time bomb state. To make matters worse, when they were recovering their dead, they never found Kushina. There have been rumors about what actually happened to her, but all have been proven false. And what would that be? Makoto grabbed her mask off her lap as she stood. You'll see ya whenever. With that she left the room, leaving Dolphin alone with Cobra, the only other ANBU in the room. Later again Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, sighed as he looked at the dove mask on his desk. Just a few minutes earlier, Makoto had dropped off her resignation and mask to him. He set the mask in a drawer, in case she ever needed it again. He then looked at the Hokage mountain and sighed. Minato Kushina, what would you do in my situation? He then chuckled. Now that I think about it, Minato would strangle me and Kushina. He shivered and mumbled, I don't even want to know. Unknown location. A shadowy figure is shown standing in front of a large desk, sir. A figure at the desk responded, what is it? The patient is responding to the drugs. But I don't expect the recovery to be any time soon. A red eye opened on the figure behind the desk, then everything is going according to plan. Next morning, Naruto's apartment. As the sun hit his face, Naruto groaned as his worst enemy was upon him again. He grabbed the nearest this, which was said enemy, and threw it at the wall. He smiled as the dreaded enemy was silenced until the realization hit him. Not again. He opened one eye and sighed as the sight of his smashed alarm clock entered his view. That's the third one this week. In his mindscape. My host is an idiot, thought the QB. Real world. Naruto grumbled as he rolled out of bed with the grace of a sloth. And had his face also graciously meet the floor. Mupid mock. Outside, Dolphin and Serpent were trying their hardest not to laugh. Well, the former was. The latter was. Laughing her ass off as quieting as she could to not wake the tenants of the building next to them. Back inside his apartment, Naruto slowly began his slow ascent to standing up. He was standing up when a thought struck him. Wait, last thing I remember was that Dove Nachan saved me from the mob that was chasing me, but that was in an alley, so why? He then slapped himself in the face. She brought me back here. Contrary to his personality, Naruto was actually an extremely smart boy, even at the age of 6. Of course, he had to mature fast since last night's incident was a common occurrence in his daily routine, which was wake up, begrudgingly, eat ramen, prank the ANBU, except Dove, Dolphin, Dog, and Serpent, eat ramen, talk to the old man, prank the civilians, try to read. He was never taught how to eat ramen, run for his life, then conk out in the blissful wonderland of sleep. He begrudgingly grabbed the broom and dustpan he kept by his bed and walked. Well, Zombie walked over to the remains of his clock and swept them up. He then dumped them into the trash, deposited his cleaning implements where he got them, and went to the kitchen. He took one glance inside his refrigerator and sighed. Of course I'm out of ramen. As he thought about it, he realized that that was the reason he was out last night. He had went to the grocery store and gotten his usual 18 things of instant ramen. When he went to check out, he bumped into one of the other customers. It's pretty obvious what ensued next. Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose with his skinny fingers. I really need to learn that disguise jutsu that shinobi use. He thought that the sooner he learned that, the sooner he would be able to be out in public without receiving those glares. The main reason he wore his hideously orange jumpsuit, besides it being the only thing he could afford and his favorite color, was to hide exactly who malnourished he was. Without the jumpsuit, you would think that he never ate. In public, he wore a mask. One that showed him as an idiotic hyperactive kid who never felt sadness. Those who thought that were completely wrong. Not once in his entire life, which was only 6 years, had he been truly happy. The closest he came to was when the matron of his orphanage talked to him. Well, his first one, she died when he was 3. He went and got dressed before checking his frog wallet, which he received last year on his birthday. I should have enough. Outside, Dolphin leaned against the tree trunk of the branch he was on. It still astounds me how he is even alive with how malnourished he is. Yeah, no kid should have to deal with that. It's not like he chose to be the container of you-know-what. Dolphin nodded as they entered a comfortable silence until Naruto left his house. Uchiha clan house. Mikoto smiled as she, for the first time since her second child was born, cooked breakfast for her family. Usually she was only able to attend lunch and dinner, and even then it wasn't a guarantee. She chuckled as she placed some baby tomatoes onto the smallest plate. She had made pancakes with some bacon. As she set the table, Mikoto heard the sound of rustling sheets and tired grumbling. She chuckled, seems they are up sooner than I thought. The smallest and youngest in the family was the first to enter the dining room and was immediately assaulted by the aroma of amazing cooking. His eyes opened and saw something he thought he would never see in the morning. Kasan. Mikoto turned around and smiled. She then knelt down and opened her arms. Come and give your Kasan a hug, Sasuke. He didn't need to be told a second time. Later at the park. Mikoto smiled as she looked at Sasuke playing with some of the other clan heirs. It warmed her heart that maybe he wouldn't fall under the Uchiha curse. She resumed conversing with her friend, Akira Hyuga, slightly noticing her eldest daughter hiding behind her legs. With Sasuke. Gotcha! He yelled as he tagged a very pharaoh-looking boy. The pharaoh boy growled, how do you keep doing that? Easy. He reached out and poked the pharaoh boy, like this. The pharaoh boy's eye twitched. That's not what I meant, BS. Kiba. The pharaoh boy, now known as Kiba, winced as her looked at an extremely pharaoh-looking woman, who had a large ninja hound under the bench where she sat. He gulped, sorry ma. Sasuke laughed at his buddy's misfortune while another boy with a pineapple hairdo mumbled, troublesome, A/N. I don't think I need to say who this one it. As he looked around, he caught a very vibrant blonde and orange blob sitting under a tree. His eye mentally twitched as he thought, with that color of hair and clothing he should have been easy to notice, so how did we all miss him? He started walking towards said blob and a figure started to take shape. He stopped once he remembered where he saw the face before. Flashback no jutsu. Sasuke was currently sitting in front of his father, Fugaku Uchiha. He was very excited because he was never able to get the attention of his Tusan before. Unfortunately for Sasuke, his hope this was about him faded as Fugaku spoke. Son, he held up a picture of a boy around his age with vibrant spiky blonde hair. I want you to stay away from this boy. He is nothing but trouble. Kai. Sasuke blinked as he looked at the blonde in front of him. This kid is the one Tusan was telling me about. He seems normal to me. He was so deep in his thoughts. Well, as deep as he could go as a 6-year-old. That he missed the number of books stacked next to the boy. Naruto mumbled, stupid books making words too big to understand. He was currently trying to teach himself how to read. And he was hating every minute of it. He knew that reading was an important skill to learn, but it was a pain in the ass to learn. What are you doing over here? He jumped as the question entered his ears. He looked up from the book he was looking at, and looked at a raven-haired boy in front of him. This was a surprise since almost all the kids at the park avoided him. I'm reading. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. You're reading? He pointed at the book. Then why is it upside down? Quickly Naruto turned the book over, earning a sweat drop from Sasuke. Naruto mumbled, thanks. Sasuke nodded and sat down next to Naruto. So what are you reading? A story? Sasuke blinked as he looked at the page. This is a cookbook. He can't read, I guess. He sighed a very Shikamaru-like sigh. You do realize that this is a cookbook, right? He hurriedly closed the book and laughed nervously. Right. I knew that. He grabbed one of the smaller books at the bottom of the stack. Sasuke grabbed the book, receiving an incredulous look from Naruto. You can't read, can you? Naruto, thinking that this boy was just another bully, clenched on of his fists ready for a fight. Yeah. So what? Sasuke opened the book and pointed to the words, "I'll teach you then." Meanwhile, Mikoto was staring at Sasuke interacting with Naruto. Normally she would have done what the other mothers, except Hikira, had done with their children and took them away once they saw Naruto. This was to save face. Actually, Fugaku ordered her to keep Sasuke away from the demon brat. Hikira sighed. I'm not surprised why the villagers are scared, having not been a shinobi. But the other shinobi mothers too? Did they forget the basic lesson of sealing? Mikoto sighed. I believe so. I'm just glad that no one has had the bright idea to kill Naruto. Even though they have. Hikira nodded, agreed. She placed a hand on Hinata's head, who looked up at her. Why don't you go play with those two over there? Hinata shook her head vigorously and hid further behind Hikira's legs. Hikira sighed. Well, then I'd better get home. It was a pleasure to talk to you again, Mikoto. Mikoto bowed her head. We must do this again. She smiled as Hikira picked up Hinata and walked away from the park. Mikoto stood up and walked towards Sasuke and Naruto, who were both focused on tail of a gutsy ninja. Sasuke, it's time to go home. Sasuke looked up then to Naruto. You going to be here tomorrow? Naruto nodded since he didn't have anything better to do. All of his pranks were set, so all he had to do was wait until sunrise the next morning. Sasuke waved as he ran to Mikoto. See ya then. Naruto waved back. Naruto watched him leave and then left. Unbeknownst to anyone but him, he was yearning for the things Sasuke and everyone else had. Family. Next day at the Uchiha compound. Mikoto hummed as she prepared for yet another trip to the park. Sasuke was smiling and actually smiled, not the Uchiha version. Mikoto looked at him, excited to go to the park. I see. He nodded. Mikoto put her sandals on. I forgot to ask yesterday. Did you make any new friends? Sasuke nodded again. Yep. His expression changed though. Mikoto noticed this. What's the matter? He mumbles incoherently. I forgot to ask for his name. Mikoto blinked once, twice, 3 times. Then chuckled. Shouldn't that have been your first question when you met him? Yeah, but he was interrupted by a mass exclamation. Naruto. Mikoto raised an eyebrow but was inwardly laughing as she recalled what happened before dinner last night. Flashback no jutsu. Clan head's household. Mikoto was in the kitchen preparing some rice with sushi and cooked vegetables. She was placing it on the plates, bowls for rice, when she felt a presence behind her. What is it, Dolphin? The presence was in fact Dolphin, her old partner. He chuckled. I'll never surprise you, will I? Nope. So why are you here? Naruto gave me a message to give to you, well, Dove. Mikoto raised an eyebrow. How did he know she was an Uchiha, and how did he know where she was? How did he dash? He didn't. Then? He just ordered me to give this scroll to Dove Ne-chan. With that, he pulled out a scroll and held it out to her. Mikoto had to fight to smirk. He ordered you to? How did he do that? Dolphin scratched the back of his head. He threatened me. Threatened? How does a 6-year-old kid threaten you, an ANBU, into doing his will? He threatened that I'd be his next target for his pranks. Mikoto paled at that. While Naruto was a secret prodigy, he inherited his pranking nature from Kushina. Kami knows how much Naruto's surpassed hers. Dolphin nodded. Yeah, well, I'd better get back before he thinks I didn't do it. With that, he vanished. Mikoto hesitantly opened the scroll. Once she did and nothing happened, she read what was in it. Dear Dove Ne-chan, if you are not of a clan, you can just toss this out into the nearest fire. If you are, however, keep reading. Tomorrow morning when the sun rises, a massive prank is going to happen. Since I don't know what clan, I know you are not any of the Yamanaka, Nara or Akamichi clans you are in, and just going to list off the clans being pranked and what to avoid. Inuzuka, avoid the detergent and dog shampoo when you wash your clothes. There is itching powder in it. Hyuga, lock your dresser, just do it. Uchiha, avoid the shampoo for a while. I put hair dye in it. Asterisk inserts laughing asterisk. Aburaim, avoid the compound. I repeat, avoid the compound. I released a few frogs in there. Also, I'd avoid HQ until noon. I may have messed with the masks a bit. See ya around, well, maybe. Mikoto blinked before telling Sasuke to not wash his hair tonight. She knew when Naruto was joking and not, but this time she didn't, and that scared her. Kai! Itachi and Fugaku stomped out of the house with very bubblegum-like hair. Mikoto couldn't stop herself from laughing as soon as they were out of earshot. Sasuke was already laughing and sputtering. WHH/DD did that should be giving a medal. At the Inuzuka compound, every member and dog was rolling, scratching, and itching themselves while Tsum, the clan head, grumbled, "I'm going to maim that brat." At the Hyuga, they woke up normally and looked out their window to see their collective undergarments spread across the grounds and walls. Well, expect one Hyuga. At the Aburame, you could see the first emotion shown from them as they ran from a toad and a frog. At ANBU HQ, a certain ANBU unfortunately learned what Naruto had done when he tried to take off his mask. Mikoto and Sasuke started to calm down. She stood up, ready? Sasuke nodded, and with that they left. Meanwhile, in the streets of Konoha. Ha 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 ha. You've got to lighten up, Naruto yelled as she ran from the growing group of angry and some pinkified shinobi and ANBU. A woman with purple hair put up into a spiked ponytail was adoring her dango when she saw a orange blur run past with a dust cloud behind him and most of the shinobi in the village. So she did what many people would do. Laugh her ass off while thinking, that Gaki is able to outrun these shinobi. OHAOW my spleen. Ha 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 ha. Get back here, brat. Naruto laughed as he turned a corner, and then into an alley and waited for the mob to pass. They did too, blinded by the urge to catch him, to notice. Hey, brat. Most of them. Gulping, Naruto slowly turned around and saw Tsum with her ninja hounds, with all of them having a murderous look on their faces. Crap. One severe beating and trip to the hospital later. No one can take a joke, mumbled Naruto as he hobbled to his usual spot in the park with a scroll. He painfully sat down and opened the scroll, revealing a seal. It was a common storage seal. And yes, I know he shouldn't know what this is, but remember, I've made him smart in this. He channeled what chakra he could and a plume of smoke appeared. In place of the plume was a pile of books. He slid the books to his side and Star Air tried to read. Mikoto walked with Sasuke to the park and noticed Naruto with a familiar orange book in the trees. Dog and Dolphin were on Naruto duty today, and what he grabbed to read got the appropriate reactions. Dog was crying anime tears as he found a fellow pervert, since he was on this duty. Much he didn't know Naruto couldn't read, while Dolphin was praying to whatever god that Mikoto wouldn't be here. It was in vain, of course. Back to the park area. Mikoto's eye twitched. While she knew he could understand what was in the book, Sasuke could read fluently, and she didn't want him reading that book ever. She looked around and saw Kiba and Hinata chatting, albeit Kiba occasionally scratched a random spot on his body and Hinata was just talking to be polite. She looked at Sasuke only to see empty space. Mikoto gulped and looked towards Naruto's direction to see Sasuke walking towards him. She acted on instinct and shunshin over to Naruto, grabbed the book, and shunshin back where she was with the book in a pocket. Naruto, however, blinked as he finally started to understand the first word on the page, only to have the book disappear. Okay. He grabbed a different book as he say the same boy, what was it his mother called him, Sasuke, from yesterday, come before him. He opened the book. Hey, Sasuke. Sasuke blinked. How did he know my name? Flashback no jutsu. Sasuke, it's time to go home. Kai. He blinked again. Oh yeah. Hey. Sasuke grabbed the book and sat next to the blonde. Shall we start? Naruto nodded. Sure. Inwardly he was surprised that Sasuke actually did follow through with what he said yesterday. What's your name anyway? Huh. Was the only intellectual thing that popped into his mind. Mindscape. I repeat, I'm stuck inside an idiot. Real world. Sasuke chuckled. Your name. You know the thing you are called by? Naruto blinked. Naruto. Sasuke froze. Naruto? As in the name I heard shouted across the village earlier? He nodded. Sasuke burst out laughing. That was you. Oh Kami! You procked the Uchiha clan. Naruto smiled as he recalled what he did and mentally registered that Sasuke is probably an Uchiha, yep. And so began their unspoken friendship. With Mikoto. She sat down next to Tsum and Hikari, and I forget how I spelled it, hey. Tsum nodded while Hikari replied, hey, Mikoto. What's new? Tsum grumbled, that brat pulled another one of his blasted pranks. Hikari blushed, yes he did, wait a minute. Mikoto gulped as Hikari looked at her. I remember passing a few Uchiha, and every one of them had bubblegum pink hair, so how don't you or Sasuke have? Mikoto chuckled, you should know I figured out his pranking schedule. Today was his weekly huge prank day. Her friends blinked as they slowly placed the days with Naruto major pranks. Then promptly slapped their foreheads. We are idiots. Yep. Some noticed Naruto and glared, why don't they just kick him out of the village like they did at the orphanage? It took everything in Mikoto to not scream because he's the fourth son, though she couldn't help but laugh at how idiotic everyone was. Mean seriously. Remove the whiskers and add some weight, Naruto would be a mini Minato. Why do you let your son near him? Mikoto was drawn out of her thought with this question, because I know the difference between a scroll and a kunai. Some scoffed, whatever. Mikoto sighed. Some lost more in the Kyuubi attack than she let on. She lost her husband along with many dogs and clansmen. She also almost lost Kiba. You wouldn't know it because she kept her emotions locked away. Before the attack, she was well more open-minded. Some stood and yelled, Kiba, get your ass over here. Time to go home. But we just got here. Get over here or I'll have you cleaning the kennels for a week. Kiba grumbled as he waved goodbye to Hinata. Once Some was out of earshot, Mikoto sighed, Kami, why can't anyone see him as a lonely kid and not the damned fox? Hikari nodded, agreed. A pregnant silence showed up between them. It was broken when Mikoto chuckled. What's so funny? Imagine what Kushina would do if she saw this. Hikari hummed and then smirked, oh yes, if only she was still alive. With the boys. This word here is fox, understand? Naruto nodded. In just the past few minutes, Naruto could read words, but he was still having trouble with pronouncing and putting them in sentences. Sasuke smiled, what is his mind made of? A sponge. Even Onaizen couldn't pick up reading this fast. Naruto read a few more words slowly when he spotted a girl watching a butterfly with 5 older boys walking up behind her. He immediately recognized them as bullies. Naruto? What's wrong? He turned to Sasuke, I'll be right back. Without waiting for a reply, he stood up and ran as fast as his legs could carry him to the girl. Unknowingly to him, Sasuke followed him when he saw where Naruto was going. Hinata was currently surrounded by 5 older kids. One smirked, so you Hyuga think you are so high and mighty? How does it feel to be powerless? Hinata, always being the shy one, I don't kkn now what? Leave her alone. Hinata looked around until she saw an orange and mummified blur smash its fist into the leader of the small band of boys. Leader grunted as he fell to the ground. He then got up, so the brat who everyone avoids to the rescue of the loser Hyuga irony. He was smirking until he heard another voice behind him, I'd recommend not getting up unless you plan on leaving. The boy looked and saw Sasuke, TCH and Uchiha, let's go boys. Sasuke and Naruto stood protectively in front of Hinata as the band left. Naruto grumbled, figures. Sasuke shrugs and turns to Hinata, who is shaking. Meanwhile at the Hokage Tower. Sarutobi smiled as he watched Sasuke and Naruto come to the aid of the young Hyuga heiress. Well, it seems as if you were both wrong about Naruto. Wouldn't you say, Hayashi-san, Fugaka-san? Across his desk in 2 chairs were the silent and awestruck clan heads of the Uchiha and Hyuga. Hayashi nodded yes. Fugaka sighed and ran a hair through his hair in frustration. Damn it. That brat just had to inherit Minato's sense of heroism. Says the one with a rival with him. Fugaka glared at Hayashi, who was smirking, oh shut up. Sarutobi chuckled as the 2 friends bickered lightly. While in public they acted as strict and emotionless to each other, they were actually close friends since their genin days. At the park with Mikoto. Mikoto chuckled as she watched Sasuke and Naruto come to Hinata's rescue. Looks like I owe Kushina 50 Ryu. Mikoto laughed at Hikari's downtrodden face and hung head. At the park. Sasuke looks at the shaken Hyuga girl and kneeled down to her level, which was more than he expected. You alright? Hinata nodded but didn't say anything. The mummified Naruto flashed her his foxy grin. Of course it looked more maniacal with the bandages. Hinata stuttered and pushed her pointer fingers together. TT thank you. Sasuke and Naruto looked at each other then back at the Hyuga. You're welcome. Naruto held out his hand. My name's Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage. Sasuke blinked and thought, that's a hard dream to accomplish. Hinata blushed. You know what it looks like, as she slowly shook his hand. Sasuke chuckled as he spoke. Sasuke Uchiha. Hinata finally spoke. H. Hinata Hyuga. Naruto smiled. Nice to meet you, Hinata-chan. Meanwhile at the Hokage Tower, in the Hokage's office. Hinata-chan. Fugaku, the third, and every NBU hidden in the room were trying, and some failing, to hold in their laughter at Hiashi Hyuga's face. His lower jaw hit the floor and his eyes were the size of dinner plates. He tried to form words but nothing came on. Fugaku counted down mentally, 3, 2, 1. What did he just say? Fugaku laughed, irony completely escaping him as he looked like a Haruno with his hair pink. Cue sneeze from Sakura Haruno. He couldn't stop himself from making a joke. Seems he also inherited Minato's uncanny ability to get a girl to fall in love with him and have no clue. Hiashi was fuming. His daughter was too young to fall in love, even to develop a crush. He vowed that Naruto Uzumaki would learn the wrath of Hiashi Hyuga. Later that day at the park, Sasuke, Naruto, and Hinata decided to play in their little group for the rest of the time. Naruto and Sasuke was having so much fun they forgot about Naruto's reading lessons. Hinata was enjoying herself since most of the time she was too shy to go around anyone besides her immediate family. At the bench, Mikoto and Hikari were chatting about numerous things. At least until they noticed the time. They called to their respective child and they headed with Naruto following since it was on the way to his apartment. If only Sasuke and Hinata knew that this was the last time they would hear Naruto's voice for a while. Somewhere in an unknown location. The patient is awake, my lord. About time. What SSS her condition? Stable, and she wishes to talk to you. A cloaked figure rose from his spot. Very well, SSS, stay here until I return. An bespectacled man nodded. Yes, Orochimaru-sama. Orochimaru, the traitorous student of the third, member of the Akatsuki, and the snake Sannin, smiled menacingly as he walked down the corridors of his secret base. Not even Pain knew about this because if he did, Orochimaru would be crushed into oblivion. Literally. Orochimaru entered the only locked door in his base, that was known to his henchmen at least. Well, it's about time you woke up, my dear. On the bed was a pale woman with long pale red hair. She was frail and was just staring at the ceiling. Then she seems to gain her unused energy and yell loudly at her host. Where am I? And what do you mean it's about time? Can you guess who? Orochimaru leaned in the doorway. Well, to answer your first question, you are in my hidden base in the land of rice. He ran a hand through his hair. As to your second question, you've been in a coma for a while. Silence conquered the room until she spoke. How long? 6 years. And my Sochi? Her question was met with silence, so she started to assume the worst. And my Otto? Dead as a doornail. His bluntness didn't shock her, but tears started to gather in her eyes, seeing how last I remember I was dying. Now I'm living, so I can only assume you want something. Orochimaru chuckled somewhat darkly. I'm actually going to let you go and wave. I need you to SSSBY on a local crime lord, Gato. The woman chuckled. You know I suck as being undercover. You're going as yourself. You don't think I'll be recognized? With my reputation. The world has forgotten you. Only your enemies would recognize you. Silence. You I'll leave when you are fully recovered. How long until I can? 2 years. Silence. With that, Orochimaru left, leaving the woman to her thoughts. She brought her legs up and rested her head on her knees. Naru. At Konoha. Naruto decided to go to Ichiraku's before he went home. Big mistake. He sighed as he was once again in a dead-end alley, and a small mob was formed around him this time, though no ANBU to rescue him. Finally! We've got you now, demon! It's time for you to pay for your crimes. Blah blah blah, Naruto thought as he mentally rolled his eyes. It was the same speech every time. He was about to make a run for it when a stabbing pain in his leg stopped him. He looked down only to see 2 kunai in both of his legs. Wah! Several more kunai stabbed into his body. The crowd roared as they saw the demon crumble to the ground. It was short-lived since all of them were now headless. An ANB with a crow mask stood above the now headless crowd. He wiped the blood from his blade and sheathed it. For your crime of harming a Konoha civilian and a child, to say the least, your punishment is death. He looked at Naruto and sighed. The small frail boy was a pincushion without the cushion. Crow grabbed Naruto and shine to the hospital. Hospital. I should have protected him better. You couldn't have known they figured out the ANBU's shift change. Still. A doctor came out of the room and sighed. I did everything I could. He'll live, but he's in a coma. The third's face saddened. When will he wake? Never, unless you can get. She'll never come. Dolphin looked at them. Who are you talking about? If they can save Naruto, we should find them. The third sighed. Tsunade Senju. In Naruto's mindscape. He was staring at a ceiling, and he was lying in water. He sighed, judging from the smell. I'm guessing this is a sewer. He was about to go looking around when he realized that he was covered in kunai, yet they weren't there. Strange. So my jailer has finally come to visit. Who said that? Naruto turned to a large cage, and inside was a tall woman with 9 tails behind her. Naruto blinked. Yep, still there. He took a closer look and saw that they were a very familiar orange color. As he moved his eyes towards the woman, he noticed quite a few things and had a brief flash of perviness. Meanwhile, at Konoha Hot Springs, a man in his late 40s with long spiky white hair was looking through a small hole in the wall from the outside of the springs. On the other side of this wall was the women's onsen. He was giggling perversely when his pervert senses went off. He ran to the top of the Kage Mountains and screamed, "A pervert is born!" Back in Naruto's mindscape. He shook his head. What the heck? The woman chuckled, drawing his attention again as he examined her. She looked to be in her mid-20s, and Kami was definitely kind to her. She has a very curvy body, and her height was about 3 times his, which was an unimpressive 2 feet 4 inches. Her face was perfectly framed by her fiery red-orange hair, which went way past her shoulders and almost touched where her tails were connected to her body. He just stared with his mouth wide open for several minutes. The woman, however, was getting annoyed as she traced where his eyesight was pointed mainly at her chest. Imagine Tsunade but more vicious. She took a breath, deciding he didn't know what the heck he was thinking, and spoke as a chair magically appeared behind her. Kid, you'd better close your trap, you'll catch flies. Naruto promptly did so before asking the obvious question, where the heck am I? The woman chuckled, for someone so smart, you are really dumb. You're in your mindscape, kid. Naruto looked around. Seems dreary, quite appropriate. How so? The woman said, actually curious. My life is a living hell, so it's fitting that my mindscape matches. He thought on it for a minute, then turned his attention to her. If this is my mindscape, how are you here? The casually crossed her legs and rested her elbow on her knee. Well, I'm here because I'm sealed inside of ya, kid. Naruto said the one thing most would in his situation, and you would be? He had an idea due to the tales, but he needed to be sure. I am the great and powerful Kyuubi. Naruto blinked, then pinched the arch of his nose. Well, I now know why everyone hates me, so the fourth sealed you inside of me. Because he couldn't kill you, correct? Kyuubi nodded. Yep, and between you and me, best thing since I was released. Naruto raised an eyebrow. You're glad that you got sealed? Wait, what do you mean released? Kyuubi sighed, knowing that this was going to be a long conversation. You are technically my third host. I was released when my second was. Naruto gulped. He then thought of a chair and instinctively sat down, surprised that there was actually a chair. He shook it off for no as he asked, who were your other hosts? My first was the first Hokage's wife, actually, Mito Uzumaki. She paused as she resisted the urge to laugh at Naruto's facial expression. He sputtered, Uzumaki. Yep, well, technically she is Mito Senju Uzumaki. But still an Uzumaki through and through. Naruto was now listening intently. Mito was well a lot like that Ambi you call Nechan Dove. She was harsh when needed but kind-hearted. At first I hated being sealed because I was chained in my bijou form to a tablet. In my opinion this is much better. She looked around and then noticed something: the water was gone from the floor. She continued curious about this development. Anyways, as time went on, Mito grew older, and as a result they needed to reseal me into another, Kushina Uzumaki. She was my second host. What was she like? Deciding to not tell him the truth about who she actually was to him, she smiled. She was a lot like you. Her entire clan was wiped out in a bloody massacre. She was alone. She smiled. Until she got me. While I was in her, she had me chained to the floor. I could move, but only as far as the chains allowed. She chuckled, remembering their first meeting. Anyways, she was a lot like you, as I said. Prankster, stubborn, willing to defend others, an annoying verbal tick. She smirked at seeing Naruto starry-eyed, so she decided to push him over the edge. Oh yeah, she also had this thing with ramen. I swear if you were to test her blood you'd find ramen in it. Naruto wished he could meet her. What happened to her? Kyuubi was happy to be able to talk to her host without him just shunning her. Well, the usual. She got married, got pregnant. She chuckled. Those two came up with the weirdest name for their son. I don't remember what it was, but I know that it meant both rice cake and maelstrom. Silly Ree, she mentally slapped herself as she remembered her new host's name. Naruto was indeed shocked. Naruto, that's so she's, but he looked at the floor and the water began to return. What happened to her? She died stopping me from killing you on October 10th, but before you think she didn't love you for letting you live on your own, I'll tell you she was ecstatic when she learned she was pregnant. Heck, she practically screamed from the rooftops when she learned. I could tell she would love you no matter what. Naruto smiled and the water receded. Thanks, Kyuubi-chan. This earned a blush from the great Kitsune. So just curious. All I have to do is think of something and it appears in here? The Kyuubi nodded. He closed his eyes and thought hard. What's this kid doing? She stopped as she saw the cage disappear and a bracelet appear on her wrist. She then watched as the damp sewer disappear and in its place a lovely field with trees and a lake to her left. She was about to say something when she felt the grass under her feet. Her eyes closed and she smiled, thankful that she had this feeling again. Naruto opened one of his eyes, then both. It worked. He looked at the Kyuubi. So you like it? For the first time in her life, she was speechless. In all of her wildest dreams she'd never imagined this. She looked at Naruto, who was sporting a foxy grin. Why? Naruto shrugged. I thought you'd like it. Besides, after you told me about my mother, I thought it was only fair. He was then engulfed in a hug. He was shocked at how fast she was. The Kyuubi smiled as she hugged him. Thank you. Naruto nodded and returned the hug. It was a strange feeling. The Kyuubi held him out at arm's length after a few minutes. Well, I think it's time for you to return to the outside world. I mean, you have been out for 3 weeks. She looked at him, or the space that was him. She sighed. Of course he does that, impatient as you, Kushina. Real world. Naruto's ear twitched as he heard a female's voice. He's waking up. Naruto's opened his eyes slowly, then closed them staring at the bright lights. He grumbled as he sniffed the air. Hospital. He went on autopilot as he, painfully, removed the wires and apparatus that were connected. He then bounded to the window only to be caught by Dolphin. Dolphin sighed. How is he already full of energy? He's been out for a month. The man's voice said. He's an Uzumaki. They are annoying, full of energy, especially WH. Whack. Naruto turned his head to see a white-haired man with a horned Hiri with the kanji 4 oil twitching on the floor. Above him was a busted blonde woman with her fist where, he assumed, was where the man's head was. He doesn't need to hear that, Jiraiya. A switch flipped in Naruto's mind. Jiraiya? As in the Toad Sannin? Again, he's smart. The man jumped onto his feet. That is I. The amazing and gallant Jiraiya. Swish. Crunch. Ack. And down he goes. This time it was a chakra-enhanced kickdown under every guy, and Konoha winced as Jiraiya crumbled to the ground, holding his family jewels. Naruto looks at the blonde. So you must be Tsunade. The slug princess. Tsunade nodded. Yes, I am. Those two are the ones your mother looked up to. Sheesh. What the hell? How can I hear you, Kyuubi-chan? I'll explain later, you'd better pay attention. She thought through their link, thankful that he couldn't see her blush. So Naruto, you hungry? Naruto nodded, though he was still being carried like a bag of flour by Dolphin. Can we go to Ichiraku? Dolphin laughed as they left. Sarutobi looked at his two students. Why didn't you tell him? Jiraiya crawled to a sitting against the wall. How do you think he'd react if he knew we abandoned him for our grief of Minato and Kushina's death? Tsunade sighed, and that we are his godparents. Meanwhile at Ichiraku's, Dolphin, along with Serpent and Cat, removed their masks when they sat next to Naruto while Dog just stood by the entrance. Oh, I have an evil idea that you will find funny. Do tell. When Kushina was alive, the man you call Old Man, Ichiraku, made a bowl named the Kushina Special. Still not hearing the funny part. All four of your Umbufren knew her, so what would they do if you ordered the once popular dish of Kushina? Oh, you are evil. Remind me to ask you for my next prank idea. So what will you have? I am asked. Pork. This came from Cat. Miso. Dolphin. Beef. Serpent. I am nodded. Okay, and what about you, Naruto? Naruto smiled his foxy grin, which caused the 4ANBU to shiver. They've seen that smile before. I'll have the Kushina Special. Dolphin's eyes widened as he heard the order. And he was speechless. Dog literally fell to the ground and twitched slightly. Cat fainted. While Serpent. She was turning blue from the dango stick she was chewing on and sucked in when she heard the order. Ichiraku froze and looked at Naruto. How? Naruto was laughing his ass off. Ha ha ha, seriously, was not expecting that reaction. Ha. Old man. You had that item on the menu the first time I came here. I wanted to try it, but it was removed. Ha ha. Kyuubi was laughing inside his mindscape. If he gives up on this ninja path, he could become an actor. Naruto started to calm down until he saw Serpent's increasingly difficulties to get the dango stick. After rescuing Serpent from death by dango stick, their orders arrived and they ate in comfortable silence. The next day, at the park, Sasuke and Hinata sat with their backs against each other. During this past month, they have been wondering where the energetic blonde was. At least they were until two balloons of orange paint hit them. Sasuke's eye twitched. He's dead. Hinata nodded. Agreed. Sasuke did a quick double take of Hinata. Usually she'd stutter, but now she was scary. He shook his head to instead attack their prankster of a friend. Mikoto and Hikari, meanwhile, were trying their best not to laugh because Kushina did the same thing to them when they were genin. Naruto. And that was the stray that broke the camel's back. Meanwhile in the snake's pit, Kushina sat straight up in her bed, startling Kabuto in the process, and said, my prankster senses just spiked. Her eyes sparkled again, scaring Kabuto. Someone just bested me in pranking. I must reclaim my title. Back in Konoha, Naruto was again running from a mob of paint-covered shinobi and civilians and ANBU and the Hokage and the Sannin, so basically the entire village. Ha ha ha, seriously? Did my month hiatus of pranking dull your senses? When I get my hands on you, GK, I wish you were still on hiatus. Asterisk. After about 7 hours of chasing and not catching Naruto later. Asterisk. The council sat in the meeting hall of the Hokage Tower, each one peeling away at the paint. Fugaka sighed. Seriously, how did he get us all? Hayashi nodded. It would seem that he has improved. It's just that demon being what he is. We should just. The idiotic civilian was interrupted when 4 kunai lodged themselves into his head and a 5th one hitting his torso. Everyone looked around and saw the 4 ANBU guards in the room and the Hokage's hands slightly extended. Well, looks like they need a new council member. The Sandaime sighed as he returned to his original position. Anyways, we need to discuss some items that have long been forgotten. Shikaka sighed. Troublesome. What are these items? Firstly, Naruto's heritage to the Uzumaki clan. I wish to reintegrate their place on the council when Naruto becomes a Chunin and can assume clan head. A civilian mumbled, if that demon lives long enough, another impaled body. Another open spot on the council. Secondly, I wish to allow Naruto to be taken in by a family. He looks at the civilian portion of the council. I know you've overused your power to stop any and all potential families from adopting him. This time the civilians were smart to not comment. All in favor of reinstating the Uzumaki clan when Naruto becomes Chunin, raise your hand. The entire Shinobi Council and some civilians rose their hands. Movement forwarded. All in favor of allowing Naruto to be taken in. Same result minus a few civilians. Motion approved. Danzo spoke up. If I may, Hokage-sama? Sarutobi nodded. I would like to propose we reveal his true heritage to him now. Sarutobi blinked. Danzo helping Naruto, something was up. May I inquire why? A child should know about their parents. That isn't a kid. That's the Q3 bodies so far. All in favor? Most of the Shinobi Council raised their hands. Sarutobi sighed, motion failed. If you wish, Danzo, we will vote again when Naruto becomes a genin. Danzo nodded slightly. 2 years later. It's been 2 years since Naruto met the Kyuubi and Sarutobi's new laws. The day after the Orange Plague, as the people in Konoha now know it as, Sarutobi released a law that allowed families to take Naruto in. Among the first to try were, unsurprisingly, the Ikarakus. But unfortunately, they realized that their home didn't have enough room for another. Next were the Hyuga and Uchiha. But they were immediately crossed off the list and everyone else who came. All because of Naruto. Every time, if it was a clan, he could tell them, which they then investigated, that there were members who wouldn't like him. Civilians he outright refused. Even though the kids were excited to have another, the parents' smiles had the look that promised an early death for him. So he is still living in his crappy apartment in the red light district. His relationship with Sasuke and Hinata only grew closer. Of course, some may say it's horrible, mostly because they are starting to join in on his prank escapades. Other than that, it was almost impossible to see any of them alone in public. Of course, they became targets for the Naruto haters. Over the course of these 2 years, they have been called things that if they repeated at home, they would be punside with no escape, aka they had to go shopping, or in Hinata's case, stuck sitting in the meetings with her father. Their personalities hasn't changed much. Naruto was still a secret genius, hyperactive prankster, Hinata was still a shy, reserved girl, and Sasuke was still Sasuke. Give me a break, I couldn't think of how to explain it. Their appearances, however, have changed. Naruto was now the same height as Sasuke, who also grew to be about 4 feet 8 inches. He still wore that kill me orange jumpsuit, and he was still frail. Hinata was about 2 inches shorter than the boys. Not that she minded though. She now wore a heavy jacket, and was still small for her age. Sasuke hasn't changed much besides his height. Unless you count his hair looking more like a duck, but now. Umbu HQ. Dolphin sighed as he sat down on a bench in the locker room. He had just come from a scouting mission on one of Orochimaru's abandoned bases, and he was dead tired. He couldn't wait for the day he retired. He had seen some of the ANBU who had been in since before the Kyuubi attack, and he didn't want to become that. Today's the day, right? A feminine voice said next to him. He looked at Serpent incredulously. What do you mean? You seriously forgot? Today's your retirement from ANBU and your return to being an academy teacher. Dolphin blinked, then mentally facepalmed. He had forgot that was today. He smiled as he reached for his mask. I guess I can remove this thing then. Serpent's eye widened and she waited in anticipation. After Inu retired last year, Dolphin had become the mysterious person who people only knew of their former profession. She doesn't remember the day Naruto ordered Kushina special at Ichiraku's. Dolphin removed his mask to reveal his scar across his nose and tanned skin. He smiled as Serpent, surprised? She blinked once, twice, 3 times. Yup, still there. Before her was her friend boyfriend Irika Unimo, academy teacher, and Chunin. She was so stunned that she didn't notice him waving a hand in front of her face. Serpent? You there? He tried to get her out of her shock and failed ultimately. He sighed as he stood and left her there. He'd regret that later on. Later, Naruto's apartment. Naruto grumbled as he threw another alarm clock at the wall, breaking it again. His eye popped open and sighed. This was becoming routine. Break a clock, clean it up, get a new clock, break it, etc. Most of his monthly allowance went to getting new clocks. He walked past the calendar, briefly looking at it before proceeding to the kitchen. He then ran back, his mind in full gear. Crap. I start the academy today. Well, it's your fault for forgetting, Kit. Oh, be quiet, fuzzball. He chuckled mentally at the snarl he got before cutting the mental link. He had been conversing with the Kyuubi for the past 2 years, and he has learned a lot about his mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Mostly her addiction to ramen and her record. He swore he would break her record. He hurriedly got dressed and ran out the door, locking it on the way out. He ran through the streets towards the academy. He didn't have to worry about running into everything because people usually gave him a wide berth. At the academy, Hinata and Sasuke stood at the entrance of the academy waiting. Sasuke shoved his hands in his pockets, slept in. Why up? How long? A few minutes. This was a regular occurrence for them. Every day they planned something early, they had to wait anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes for Naruto to arrive. Sasuke counted off his fingers 3, 2, 1 as he closed his hand into a fist. A dust cloud entered the academy yard. It skidded to a halt, more like tumbled at their feet. Hinata blinked while Sasuke, "Dobe, why must you make a show of your arrival every time?" Omiyudim. Sasuke blinked before looking at Hinata. Translation? Hinata tapped her 4 fingers together. Yes, said, "Oh, be quiet, team." Sasuke chuckled. Of course he did. Naruto stood up and literally spat out the dirt in his mouth. He then dusted himself off and gave one of his genuine smiles. They didn't know his usual smiles were just a mask, so they didn't think about it. All they know was that when he smiled, you couldn't help but smile too. They couldn't explain it, and neither could anyone nearby. Sasuke, who had started smirking at Naruto's smile, "Let's go, Dobe, or we'll be late for class." Naruto glared slightly. "Stop calling me that, team." They headed inside with Hinata behind them, smiling at their bickering. They finally arrived at their classroom and walked in. Immediately, Sasuke felt a wave of dread hit him and he shivered slightly. He looked around and noticed every girl was looking at him. He mentally screamed. Itachi had warned him about this, and so had his father. The plague of the Uchiha clan fangirls. Naruto and Hinata glanced at each other before dragging the traumatized Sasuke to the only desk with all 3 seats open and set him in the middle. Hinata sat in the seat next to the aisle while Naruto took the one next to the window, creating an effective barrier. That didn't stop the girls from staring. Sasuke went into the ultimate fangirl defense, the Uchiha brooding mode. He cupped his hands together, put them in front of his mouth and nose, and inwardly wished that it worked. Naruto said this, of course, and instantly started to snicker before whispering, "For once I'm glad I'm not in your family, team." Sasuke sent a sideways glare at Naruto before re-entering the brooding mode. Outside the classroom, Iruka sighed as he just stared at the door in front of him. "I have the feeling my class is full of fangirls." He opened the door and wanted to leave immediately. He was correct. Fangirl lined the first row of the desks. He sighed and looked around, mentally doing an attendance sheet. Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Abirame Ino Yamanaka, Fangirl Sai, Sakura Haruno, another, Shikamaru Nara Choji Akimichi Hinata Hyuga Sasuke Uchiha Naruto Uzadash. His train of thought derailed as he sent Naruto a hidden shocked look. He then did multiple backflips in his head. Yes. Finally. Thank you, Kami. He had been hoping that he could teach him, but his hopes were small. I mean, what are the odds of him getting to teach Naruto? Iruka got out of his mind and smiles. "Hello, class. My name is Iruka Unimo, and I'll be your sensei for the next 4 years. He sat at his desk. "Why don't we introduce ourselves?" He droned out as most of the fangirls introduced themselves, including Ino and Sakura. His attention returned when Shikamaru was up. Or he would be if he wasn't asleep already. "Shikamaru." Shikamaru jumped and then groaned. "Troublesome, I'm Shikamaru Nara. My future is to find a normal girl and marry, have kids and have a peaceful life." Everyone's sweat drops at that. "I'm Choji Akimichi and my dream is to prove that we Akimikis are dangerous too." "I'm Kiba Inuzuka and this is my dog Akamaru Bark. And I'm going to be the most badass ninja in this village." "I am Hinata H. Hyuga and my dream is to gain confidence." "Sasuke Uchiha and my dream is to surpass my brother." "I'm Naruto Uzumaki and I'm going to be the next Hokage." Quite a few people snickered. Iruka stood up. Alright, let's start the day off with basics of chakra." Later that day, Naruto had spaced out while Iruka was giving a lesson on the village. Instead, he was in a heated battle of shogi with Kyuubi in his mind. Check. Iruka looked around. Now who can tell me who the Hokage were and what their accomplishments were? His glance went towards Naruto while everyone else looked at Sasuke. Sasuke was about to answer until the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, is known for being the founder of Konoha and his wood-style jutsu. He is also hailed as the supreme shinobi. Tobirama Senju, the second, is the younger brother of the first, and is known for his mastery of water. The third, Hiruzen Sarutobi, known for training the Sannin and the former apprentice of the second. He is also known as the god of shinobi for his creation and understanding of jutsu. The fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, known as the Yellow Flash and was apprenticed to Jiraiya of the Sannin. His contribution to the Third Great Ninja War and his creation of the Hiruzen and Rasengan earned him his spot as Hokage. He died saving the village from the Kyuubi. Everyone, except Irika, turned their heads to Naruto, the one who answered. Even Sasuke and Hinata were surprised. And he wasn't even paying attention to the lesson. He was still oblivious until he noticed the silence. He then realized what he said and looked around. What? Sakura, the resident bookworm, pointed. How? You can't expect a future Hokage to not know what his predecessors accomplished, so everyone besides Irika, who was inwardly beaming, Sasuke and Hinata, chalked it up to him just knowing that to achieve his silly goal. Sasuke drowned out Irika as he resumed the lesson. He unrolled his scroll and kept doing that until he came to the part about the fourth. It had a few pictures, but the one that caught his eye was the one of him in his academy days. He nudged Hinata and pointed to the picture. Her eyes widened. They held the picture towards Naruto and compared it. Their eyes were now dish plates. It was the exact same thing. Besides the clothes and the spikiness of their hair, they were the same person. Same pose, same dull look in his face, even the same azul eyes. They figured out the secret. Minato Namikaze was Naruto Uzumaki's father. Checkmate Kit. Meanwhile, at the entrance to Wave Country. So it's finally time? Yes. Remember, you are to SSSSBY on Gato and report any movements for the next 4 years. And after that I'm free to go? Yes. Kushina sighed as she swung her bag over her shoulder. Whatever, I'll send you a scroll in about a week, you snake. Academy grounds. Sasuke and Hinata just stared at their blonde friend. They were still in shock that they were friends with the fourth son. And they didn't know it. They then thought more on it. Why did everyone hate him then? In fact, if they didn't know, how couldn't they figure it out? He is a miniature Minato after all. See ya tomorrow, you two. They blinked as they waved at the blonde who was running home. They noticed that their parents were smiling at them, and they waved at each other as they headed their separate ways. The Uchiha main family household, clan grounds. Mikoto looked curiously at Sasuke. He was usually vibrant and... Can I ask you guys a question? She blinked and Fugaka answered in his monotone voice. What is it, son? Is Naruto. He pauses, hoping he wouldn't sound crazy. What is it, Sasuke? Mikoto was mentally hoping it wasn't Naruto's tenant he found about. Is Naruto the fourth son? If he thought he wasn't crazy before, he definitely thought so now. Fugaka breathed in his pipe he was smoking and coughed. Mikoto sighed in relief and smiled. About time you figured it out, little brother. Sasuke blinked as he looked at his brother, Itachi, then the realization hit him. You all knew. Fugaka smiled. Everyone had to do a double take. Yep, still there. He spoke, of course. After all, Minato was my teammate and friend. I'd think I'd know his son. Mikoto was still smiling, friends with his mother. Itachi just smirked ANBU. Sasuke looked at his family, baffled. Then he did the most logical thing a person could do. He fainted. While at the Hyuga household, the same thing happened with Hinata. Naruto's apartment. Naruto sighed as he opened the door and went in. But instead of the smell of nothing, he was hit with the alluring smell of food. He walked cautiously to the kitchen and looked in. On the table was a bounty of food with a note against one of the plates. He took the note, opened it, and read. Hey Naruto. It's Dove. Yeah, long time no see, but missions have stopped me. I made this for you, so eat up. Naruto smiled and set the note on the table. He then dug in. While he was eating, however, his body mass was increasing, seemingly repairing the damage from the malnourishment of the orphanage. In his mindscape, the Kyuubi was relaxing under one of the trees when she felt a change. She investigated and then smiled. Well, it seems that ANBU got a remedy from the Akimichi. About time. Real world. Naruto sighed as he finished the last of the food. He got off the chair and walked to the bathroom. As he did, he noticed that he felt stronger and less likely to fall over. He shook his head and took a quick shower, then went to bed well to converse with the Kyuubi. Mindscape. Naruto sighed as he sat down next to the Kyuubi, finally. Kyuubi smiled. Hey Kit. Naruto nodded. Hey fuzzball. Kyuubi glared. No respect, ECH. A shogi board appeared between them, whatever? Up for a game? She nodded as the pieces appeared on the board. Kyubi moved a piece. So Kit, what do you think about the academy and your sensei? Naruto moves one of his pieces. Seems boring, but I have to graduate to become a shinobi, so I'll suffer through it. Iruka-sensei, however, he seems familiar, but I can place where. The Kyubi moves another one piece. Check. So he knows Iruka is familiar, but he can place where him. Naruto's eye twitched as he moves a piece to counter the check. Kyubi smiled. Interesting move. Kid Soha was sitting next to an Uchiha's brooding mode? Haha. Hilarious. I thought I'd never see him like that. Checkmate. Naruto's laughing stopped as he looked at the board. Indeed, he was in checkmate. Ack. One of these days, I'm going to beat you. Kit, I'm a millennium older than you. You think you can beat me? Yes, or my name isn't Naruto Uzumaki. Kyubi chuckled as the board disappeared. Good luck with that, Kit. A peaceful silence descended on them until Naruto spoke up. Hey, Kyubi? Yes? What's your name? This shocked her. None of her former hosts asked this, mostly because they preferred nicknames like Fuzzball. Why do you want to know? He shrugged, gazing off into the distance. Everyone has a name. Besides, I need something to call you besides Fuzzball. Kyubi blinked, then smiled. Make you a deal, Kit. If you can become a genin, I'll tell you my name. Deal. Kyubi chuckled. Good. Now you'd better get up or you'll be late. Crap. With that, he disappeared. Real world. Next morning. Naruto woke with a start and landed on the floor. He glared as he looked at the clock. Stupid Fuzzball, I still could have slept for another hour. He grumbles as he headed towards his dresser. However, when he looked inside, only his boxers were there. Then he facebombed. Yesterday was laundry day. Looking around for the pile, he noticed a small bundle next to his bed with another note on it. He picked up the note and read it. Wear these. You'll thank me later. A friend. He blinked, then unwrapped the bundle. He sighed. Whatever? Academy with Uchiha and Hyuga. Sasuke and Hinata sighed as they waited again for Naruto. Fugaku and Hisashi were chatting civilly while their wives chatted on and on. Fugaku stopped talking and his eyes widened. Hisashi raised an eyebrow. What is it? Fugaku pointed behind him, and when he looked he also froze. Their wives, seeing this, followed their line of sight and froze also. Walking up to them was a spiky blonde-haired azure-eyed boy wearing a white jacket and blue pants. He had a smile on his face and a sort of attitude about him. They collectively thought, Minato? Hinata and Sasuke sighed again, waiting for the orange blur to land in front of them. Hey guys. They blinked as they looked at the blonde in front of them. The first to speak was Sasuke. Naruto? Naruto nodded while thinking, what is it with everyone? The entire way here I got strange stares, but somehow I could tell there was nostalgia behind them. Sasuke blinked again. What happened to your jumpsuit? Laundry day yesterday. This was the only thing I had clean. Sasuke sighed. Whatever, let's get to class before you break our parents even more. He shot a glance at his and Hinata's parents' statues. They all nodded and headed into the academy. Fugaku spoke first. That's just creepy. Hisashi nodded, agreed. The civilians that were nearby blinked. Not in their entire lifetime had they seen the Hyuga and the Uchiha agree on anything. Mikoto then got a creepy grin. I have a plan that Kushina would be proud of. The other three listened as she explained her plan and gained the same grin. In class? Naruto sighed as walked into class because he felt as if he was being watched. And that's because everyone was looking at him. He sat down while Sasuke went into his brooding self and Hinata sat on the other side of Sasuke. He waited and heard the door open. Sorry class. I ran into an old friend. Anyways, today we will be testing your current proficiency in each skill. If you would please follow me outside. They did, and in the yard were a few target dummies, a table full of kunai and shuriken, and a taijutsu ring. Iruka smiled. Alright, first up at kunai throwing. Naruto droned out, only returning to hear Hinata's and Sasuke's scores. Hinata got a 6 out of 7 and Sasuke got a 8 out of 10, the current highest. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto came up to the throwing line and looked at Iruka. Can I use my own kunai? Iruka raised an eyebrow before nodding, seeing no harm in it. Until he said the kunai, Naruto pulled out a tri-pronged kunai from a pouch on his ankle and threw it at the dummy, repeating the process 9 more times. In the trees, Serpent and Nico were dumbstruck at the kunai on the roof. Kakashi almost dropped his Aika book. While in the Hokage Tower, Sarutobi was chuckling, "Naruto, you are one interesting kid." Iruka looked at the dummy and almost fainted. A 10 out of 10. Good job, Naruto, perfect score. Naruto beamed and went to retrieve his kunai. Iruka looked at him. Hey Naruto? Where did you get those kunai? Naruto placed them in his pouch as he chuckled nervously. Well, I was kind of exploring around training ground 44 when I found a box inside were these kunai. Serpent had to restrain herself while Iruka just blinked. The other students had no idea what was so important about these kunai or training ground 44. Iruka sighed. Whatever, next up, shuriken. Hinata got a 5 out of 10. Naruto 7 out of 10. Sasuke 8 out of 10. Alright, that's enough for today. Let's head back inside. Classroom. When they returned to their seats, they saw a test form on their desks. Iruka explained, "These are IQ tests. They'll tell us how far along you are. You may begin." As soon as Naruto looked at the form, he sighed. He quickly answered the questions and decided to take a nap soon after. Shikamaru followed his example. After school. Hey Hinata, Sasuke. Want to go train for a little? Sasuke nodded while Hinata bowed her head. They headed to Training Ground 7, unknowing the significance it will be. Training Ground 7. Kakashi stood before the memorial stone and sighed. Sensei Obito-rin, I wonder what you would do in my situation. He heard voices and disappeared into the tree cover. He watched the three friends enter the training ground and start throwing kunai at the posts. After about 20 minutes they engaged in taijutsu. Naruto stood across from Sasuke. I hope you're ready. Sasuke nodded. Fuck, hurry, and I'll end it there. Just kidding. Sasuke charged Naruto with a fist, aiming for his face. Naruto sidestepped him and tripped him. You'll have to try another tactic. This type of fighting continued until both sides were pooped. Naruto and Sasuke panted as they stood across from each other. Enough, it's a T-die. They then flopped on the ground while Naruto spoke finally. Kakashi smiled as he watched Hinata walk over to them and help them up. Hinata and Sasuke waved goodbye to Naruto and left. Kakashi was about to leave when Naruto picked up his kunai and studied it. He then heard him speak. I wonder, could these letters be some type of seal? Kakashi wanted to laugh. But he did know one thing: he would train his sensei's son. Naruto sighed as he thought about what the Kyuubi had said, so few in jutsu. A few months later. Iruka looked at the strange request from the Hokage. Put Hinata, Sasuke and Naruto on a team against Ino Shikacho. He sighed. Well, class, we were going to learn about the history of the 5 great nations if you grown. But it seems as if we are going to learn about teamwork. To the taijutsu ring. The class was confused but did as they were told. Alright, this is going to be a team battle. The teams are Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke against Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru. As they entered the ring, Naruto started to assess their opponents. Ready? After receiving a nod from both sides, begin. Naruto took up a strange stance. Hinata, take Ino. Sasuke, Choji? I'll take care of Shikamaru. Sasuke and Hinata nodded. They had grown used to Naruto's smartness and hasn't questioned that his strategies were usually spot on. They charged their respective targets while Naruto looked at Shikamaru. He then pulled out a portable shogi board and set it on the ground, motioning to Shikamaru to sit. Everyone besides Sasuke, Hinata, Choji and Ino face-bombed. Everyone knew in their class, Shikamaru was the reigning shogi champion. They watched as Hinata defeated Ino with relative ease and Sasuke got Choji to surrender without much of a fight. They turned their attention to the shogi board and were shocked. In just 2 turns, Naruto had gotten Shikamaru to have to rethink his strategy. After 10 minutes they could see the sweat gathering on Shikamaru's forehead. Naruto was relaxed and was in fact seeming calm. Shikamaru smiled confidently as he moved his piece. Check, you troublesome blonde. Naruto simply took the piece that called check and checkmate. Shikamaru's eyes widened as he glanced at the board, indeed confirming of his defeat. He was so focused on defeating Naruto, he wasn't paying attention on the placement of the pieces. He sighed, troublesome. He stood up and left the ring, going to the rest of his team. Naruto smiled as he put the shogi board away. Iruka chuckled, winner. Hinata, Sasuke, and Nar. Naruto. Everyone blinked and looked up to a very comical sight. Sarutobi was tied up and dangling from one of the pillars on the Hokage tower. Iruka then looked at Naruto only to see, not one, but 3 dust-shaped figures. He chuckled, those 3. Iruka-sensei, why did Naruto run? Well, you see, Sakura, he is the village prankster. Meanwhile, with the 3. You just had to prank the Hokage, didn't you? He had it coming, Databeo. Are you sure? Yes, Hinata-chan. I'm sure. Second year of the academy classroom. Naruto sighed as he gazed out the window. Iruka was going over the second great ninja war, and he was just out of it. He still wore the white jacket and pants he did the second day of the academy. For reason, he noticed, he got less heated and vengeful glares. In fact, now that he thought about it, they were being replaced with curious and inquisitive stares. To his right was his best friends, Hinata and Sasuke. Sasuke was still using his clan's brooding mode while Hinata. She kept on sneaking glances at him when she thought he wasn't looking. He shrugged it off and returned his attention when he heard his favorite subject uttered by Iruka. Now if you'll follow me outside, we have a couple of guests. Naruto always liked going outside because it usually meant tournaments, weapons training, or, Iruka said, special guests. Of course, most of these special guests were the Hokage or some of the retired shinobi to tell tales of their adventures. But the main reason he liked this is that it get him out of Iruka's lectures. He was expecting to find the Hokage, or a ninja missing a limb, or in a wheelchair. What he saw when he got outside was the complete opposite. 2 shinobi and 1 kunoichi were standing in a semicircle and chatting when his class came out. One of the shinobi had white long spiky hair with markings on his face. He also had a horned headband with the kanji for oil on it. The female of the group was a blonde with her hair in ponytails. She wore high heels and a green jacket with luck and kanji on the back. She didn't look like a ninja, but the way the marked man acted, she defiantly was one. The other man was a thin man with a mask over the loxer half of his face and his headband covering his left eye. He also had silver gravity-defying hair. Naruto narrowed his eyes and thought, this feeling, it's the same as the first day of the academy when I met Iruka-sensei. Iruka coughed, getting not only the attention of his class, but the ninja. He sent a quick nod to the gravity-defying haired man before turning to the class. Class, I'd like to introduce Jiraiya and Tsunade Senju of the Sannin, and Kakashi Hatake. Naruto's entire class eyes were the size of dinner plates. Mainly because, besides the Hokage, these 3 were the most famous ninja in the leaf. Naruto blinked. Holy shiitake mushrooms. This is awesome. Jiraiya smirked. So this is your bunch of gakis, Iruka? Iruka chuckled. Yes, Jiraiya-sama. These are them. Tsunade scanned the class. Most are from clans, but it's good to see that there are a few civilians in this BU-. Kiba, who was silent up until now, yelled loudly, how can a girl be one of the Sannin? They are the strongest ninja. Girls can't be stronger than men. A deathly silence, and the temperature of the area went down greatly. Kiba noticed this and gulped. He then noticed Jiraiya and Kakashi backing far away. He looked around and noticed many of his male students followed suit. Naruto sighed as he patted him on the shoulder as he went to join the seasoned shinobi. It was nice knowing ya, Kiba. Before he could ask what Naruto meant, Kiba's danger beacon in his head went off. He turned around and saw Ino, Sakura, Hinata and Tsunade glaring at him and cracking their knuckles. He then remembered that his mom is a shinobi and a strong one. Ah shit. He felt many hits and was surprised to find out that Hinata was the one behind it. Before long he was groaning on the ground while the other 3 kunoichi slash in training smirks at Hinata and were slightly terrified. Jiomin. Everyone faltered when they heard that from Hinata's mouth. Naruto and Sasuke sighed and simultaneously thought, scary. Meanwhile in the Hokage's office. Are you sure of this, Fugaku? Fugaku nodded solemnly, yes, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi sighed as he leaned back in his chair. I'm getting too old for this. He looked out at the village. And you say nothing can convince them? Yes. Sarutobi sighed again. Then there is no choice. Tell the ones that are behind it that you shall have a meeting tonight. Fugaku nodded, knowing what was about to happen to his clan. He left without a word. Sarutobi pushed the intercom button on his desk. Asuna, can you get me Crow and Weasel? Tell them I need to speak with them immediately. Yes, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi gazed at the Hokage mountain. Tonight is going to be bloody. Later at the Dango shop. Jiraiya, Tsunade and Kakashi had just finished with their visit to the academy, and were now sitting in a booth at the only dango shop in town. Kakashi sighed. I forgot how insistent some of the students are. Can't believe that was us once? They all shivered. Hey, are you throwing a party without me? Kakashi I smiled at the newcomer, of course not Enko. Enko, the formerly known ANBU serpent, plopped down next to Kakashi. Good. Another chair pulled up to the table. I see we all had the same idea. Tsunade poured a glass of sake. Aren't you supposed to be teaching those gakis something right now? Let them go early. Seems your visit encouraged some of them to train more vigilantly. Tsunade shrugged, downing her glass. Jiraiya looked at Irika. Seems Naruto's doing fine. Yup, Irika said nervously, chuckled. Everyone raised an eyebrow, but Kakashi spoke the unspoken question, what has he done this time? Well, he doesn't pay attention in class and he keeps his idiotic persona up. Enko sighed as she grabbed a piece of dango off of the plate that was delivered to their table. When will he give up that mask? Irika shrugged, who knows? It's kind of creepy how much he looks like you-know-who. Everyone looked at Jiraiya and spoke in unison, agreed. They sat in a comfortable silence for a while until they saw three blurs head to the training grounds, specifically Training Ground 7. Kakashi chuckled, up to training I see. He stood up and shined to the grounds. He was soon followed by the rest of the table. Ground 7. Naruto smirked at his friends, who were panting on the ground. I win again. Shut up, you hyperactive twerp. Naruto shook his head as he pulled out some sealing paper, some ink, a book, and a brush. I'll be working on my fun. Sasuke nodded as he sat up. All right. We'll work on our tie if that's fine with you, Hinata. Hinata nodded and stood up. They went to a suitable distance between them and began their fight. Naruto sat down in front of one of the posts and laid down the sealing paper. Yo, Kyuubi! A yawn is heard. What is it, Kit? Fuinjutsu, remember? Right, well, start out with some low-level explosive tags. They only have the power of a firecracker. Naruto nodded as he took the brush and dipped it in the ink bottle. He then started to elegantly write down on the sealing paper, remembering what they discussed at the end of summer. Flashback no jutsu. Naruto growled and started pulling at his hair as he looked at the shoji board in front of him. Why can't I beat you? Just face it, Kit. It's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Oh yeah, Kit? How about this then? If you can learn Fuinjutsu and find a way I can roam in your world, I'll teach you a jutsu that is long forgotten to your time. Deal. Kai. Naruto could care less about the jutsu. He just wanted to introduce her to his friends. Plus, it would be easier to talk to her if she was out of his mind. He chuckled as he etched the final touches. Meanwhile, in the treeline, Jiraiya blinked as he watched Naruto perfectly create a beginner seal. This is too creepy. Back with Naruto, he set his newly made explosive tag onto a rock and wrapped it up. He then said loudly, "Fire in the hole." Hinata and Sasuke froze at that, then ran to the treeline with Naruto shortly behind them. Once they were all behind the brush, Naruto made the ram sign with his fingers high. Pop! Jiraiya and the others watching, minus the impromptu team in the bushes, had to restrain themselves from laughing. Each one of them has at least done that much sealing and they remember how pathetic it was. Naruto blinked. You've got to be kidding me, I get more action from the popcorn popping. Hinata and Sasuke's mouth were both twitching slightly as they hadn't expected it either. Naruto sighed and looked at the two. I think it's time to head home. See ya tomorrow? Hinata nodded while Sasuke smirked. Don't get blown up by your firecracker. They were both chuckling until. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? They both froze again. It was Tuesday, which meant his major prank was tomorrow. They both slowly turned their heads to look at him and saw the devious glint in his eyes. Naruto laughed as they appeared in front of him and bowed. Oh, please don't target us. Jiraiya and Tsunade looked at the paled faces behind them while Jiraiya asked, Is his pranks that bad? Imagine Kushina's, but 5 times worse. The two Sannin paled, having been targets of the late Redhead's pranks. They imagined what Naruto's pranks would be and they decided to never get on the kid's bad side. Naruto agreed to their pleas and they went their separate ways. The shinobi hidden also said their farewells and left. Fakhari, I was originally going to stop here, but since I forgot to post, I'll write what I have in my head anyways. Night Uchiha Clan Meeting Hall. Fugaku had to restrain himself as he watched the traitors of his clan file into the hall. He then subtly looked to the far back corners where 2A and B were hidden. He knew who they were and was pitying them for having to do this task. The traitors sat down and Fugaku schooled his face to a neutral expression. He spoke, I believe you all know why we are here. It's time to plan for our takeover of Konoha, right? Fugaku nodded and let them converse aloud. The A and B will be the hardest to surpass in my opinion. I mean, they are the elite. Bite your tongue. No one is better than the Uchiha. Just look at Itachi. True. With an Uchiha in ANBU, we could end both the Hokage and deal with the ANBU. Of course we must plan. Once it starts, we must fight to our last breath. Wait, isn't the demon under the protection of the ANBU? Yes. We could have Itachi kill it, and we'd finally be rid of it. That got many exclamations of approval. While Fugaku inwardly smiled, so not only they are traitors, but they are the ones from my clan who are Naruto haters. He coughed, getting the attention of everyone. Once the room silent, he smirked, have you heard enough? From the corners, Weasel and Crow phased into existence. Crow set his hand on his tanto, yes. He did some hand signs and 2 more ANBU appeared in front of the exist. Crow pulls out his tanto, and Weasel followed his example. Crow spoke, for conspiring to overthrow the Hokage, threatening the life of a citizen of Konoha, and breaking the third's law, you are hereby sentenced to death. One of the braver Uchiha stood, you have no right OTB, he a kunai lodged into his throat. When everyone looked around to see who threw it, they say Fugaku, not in his robes anymore, but in his shinobi gear he wore during the Third Great Ninja War. Fugaku, you have betrayed us? Your own clan. He said nothing as he drew several kunai and threw them. The Umbu followed suit and started killing the Uchiha one by one. An hour later, Fugaku stood over one of the only living traitors left. I know that you lot couldn't have planned that by yourselves. So give me the names of the heads of this treacherous group and I'll see to it that you live. The Uchiha spat blood in his face, and seal away my chakra, right? Never. Fugaku sighed and handed the traitor to Weasel, get him to the TNI department. Horror crossed the Uchiha's face before Fugaku smiled, and asked Anko to deal with this one. Before the Uchiha could retort, he and Weasel left for TNI. Fugaku sighed as he looked at his fellow clansmen on the ground. Crow walked up next to him, I shall have some ANBU come and clean this you. Burn the building. Crow's eyes widened, but what about the tablet? Moved it to the secondary hall. Burn this building to the ground. With that he left. Crow sighed as he made the sign of the tiger, fire style, fireball jutsu. Crow left as soon as he saw the flames hit the roof and lit the night. Next morning, Sasuke was walking with Fugaku to the academy when he noticed the burned-up building. What happened here? Must have been a fire. Seems to have happened last night. Fugaku lied skillfully. Sasuke sighed, sheesh. Fugaku nodded and then ruffled Sasuke's hair. Let's get going so that you're not late for school. Sasuke smiled and they continued on their way. Council chambers. What do you have to report about last night, Fugaku? Fugaku sighed as he glanced around to the other council members. Thankfully, the civilian council was not informed of this meeting. Most of the traitors in my clan were killed last night. Whispers spread through the room before the Hokage spoke. Who's still alive? The masterminds and one Uchiha who has been sent to Anko. Everyone shivered. Hokage sighed as he watched Fugaku sit down, unless anyone has anything to add. Danzo spoke up, Hokage-sama. If I may? Sarutobi nodded and Danzo stood. I'd like to have a vote and tell the rest of the Shinobi Council about Naruto's heritage. Sarutobi sighed, then thought about it. If the head of each clan know who Naruto's parents were, they could stop any attacks from their clansmen. On the other hand, some may try to turn him into a breeder. He sighed, I'll allow it. But if it fails, we will not speak of it again until Naruto is a genin. Danzo nodded, all in favor. Many of them raised their hands. Sarutobi sighed, all right then. 2 figures appeared in the empty chairs. Everyone blinked as they looked at Jiraiya and Tsunade were in them. Just in time, you two. We've been here the whole time, old man. Sarutobi sighed as he pulled out a photo and crossed his fingers, creating enough for everyone who didn't know about the secret. He then passed them down both sides. These are his parents. Once everyone saw the photo, they collectively blinked. What? End of the second year. It's been a little over half a year since the failed coup planning from the Uchiha, and life has been normal for everyone involved. The building has been replaced and made into a garden, and those killed were assumed to have died in the fire. Fugaku had commented, "This is better than a bland-looking building." Currently Iruka was grading the final test of the year. He looked up and noticed everyone staring at him. He smiled as he stood. "Well, I must say I'm very impressed of most of you. Even though this is only the second year, I can tell that you'll all have a fascinating career as a shinobi." This got excited whispers and muffled yells of exclamation from the entire class. Iruka coughed, getting the attention of the class. So on to the scores for the top girl and guy of this year. In terms of these tests at least. Everyone sat on the edge of their seats, while almost everyone. Shikamaru was asleep on his desk with a drool pool streaming from his mouth. The top girl is Hinata Hyuga. Naruto and Sasuke glanced at the, now red-faced and trying to retreat into her coat, Hinata, and sent their unique smiles at her. And it seems there is a tie for the top male in the class. The first is Sasuke Uchiha. Everyone sighed as the exclamations of the fangirls particularly won. Who could tie with Sasuke? Sakura screamed. Iruka had to do his best not to smirk at the other name. And Naruto Uzumaki. There was a silence as everyone mechanically looked at Naruto, who had resumed looking out the window with a bored expression. Until. Wahat! Naruto, in his mind, was holding his sides roll on the floor with the Kyuubi following suit at that. There were many statements like, "How did he tie with Sasuke-kun? He's the dead last." This continued until one imitation banshee screamed, "How did the freak tie with Sasuke-kun?" Once again the room was quiet. Only this time the room was a few degrees colder. Sasuke gulped and subtly scooted towards Naruto. Naruto, on the other hand, was in his mindscape going over the seal with the Kyuubi. So if I adjust this part of the seal, then the Kyuubi blinked as Naruto explained how she could at least appear in her human form in his world. To be honest, she wasn't expecting him to be able, since the Shiki Fujin is the most complicated and self-sacrificing seal in the world. And this 10-year-old figured out how to modify it. "So when do you want to do this, Kyuubi-chan?" Kyuubi blinked. Tonight work? Naruto nodded, "Sure." Naruto waved as he returned to the outside world and immediately gulped. Naruto and Sasuke glanced at the source of the aura. Hinata Hyuga was glaring holes into Sakura's skull, who was completely oblivious to the impending doom about to descend upon her. Iruka gulped and hopefully interrupted the death of the Pinkette. "Anyways, it's time for the tournament. If everyone would please head to the yard so we could hold it." Everyone headed to the yard, excited for both this contest and to summer after it ends. Iruka smiled as everyone lined up. "Alright, here are the rules. This is a single knockout tournament with one-on-one combat. You are only allowed to taijutsu unless both sides agree to an all-out bout. No fatal moves or it is an immediate disqualification. Understood?" He received the expected amount, though one or two were more reluctant. Iruka looked at the clipboard. "Alright. First up is and I'm skipping the characters that didn't appear in the show, so to the rookie 9. Iruka gulped as the nurse carried a student to her office. He then looked at the winner of the match. Sakura Haruno. She was hopping in one place sawing, "I did it." Iruka sighed as he looked at his clipboard. Winner Haruno. Next match is Hinata Hyuga and Ino Yamanaka. Ino gulped as she changed places with Sakura, who was in her own world again. Hinata just walked into the ring and made the hand sign for ready. Ino did the same. Iruka pulled out a stopwatch so the match doesn't last too long. Hajime. Ino charged Hinata, pulling her fist back before sending it forward, aiming for her head. Hinata sighed at the predictable move and moved to her right, effectively avoiding the punch. While Ino was dazed about her missing, Hinata chopped the back of her neck, knocking Ino out. Iruka stopped the timer. 0:15. All of this happened over the span of 15 seconds. He sighed as Shikamaru grumbled as he dragged Ino's body to the sidelines. Iruka looked at his clipboard again and smiled. Winner Hinata. Next match Shikamaru and Naruto. Everyone was interested as they entered the ring until Naruto pulled out his portable shogi board. Naruto smiled, ready for that rematch, Shikamaru? Shikamaru sighed as he sat down, you troublesome blonde. Naruto chuckled as he set up the pieces. Once everything was ready, he nodded to Iruka, who started the stopwatch. Naruto gestured to his opponent, you first. Shikamaru nodded as he moved one of his pawns forward. Naruto also moved his pawn, opening up his bishop. So what you doing during this vacation, Shikamaru? He moves another piece as he answers, mostly cloud watching hopefully. Unless my bothersome mother decides to give me chores. Naruto rubs his chin before making a counter move, hey, it could be worse. Shikamaru shrugs, He thinks of a strategy and moves a piece, starting it, what about you? Naruto moves a random piece, knowing full well it will ruin Shikamaru's strategy, training and pranking people. Everyone in the yard shivers at the word prank because of its coming from Naruto. Meanwhile, in Wave Country, a long-haired redhead woman sneezed as she was walking to the market. She rubbed her nose, someone must be scaring people with pranks. Back at the academy, Shikamaru sighed, alright, just don't target me or my clan, we had enough trouble with the sneezing powder prank last month. Naruto chuckled as he watched Shikamaru carelessly move a piece. He smirked as he moved his bishop, alright, by the way, checkmate. Shikamaru groaned, come on. He stood up as Naruto put the pieces away and the portable shogi board away. He held out his hand, have fun, Naruto. Naruto grabbed the offered hand and smiled, you too, Shikamaru. Don't go crazy though. I may go crazy trying to figure out how to win against you in shogi. True. Naruto and Shikamaru went back to the sidelines as Iruka sighed, winner Naruto Uzumaki. Next match, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburame. Kiba ran into the ring, finally. Come on, Akamaru. Arf. They started to run into the ring. I forfeit. Kiba then had his face meet the very comfortable ground. He then hopped onto his feet and pointed accusingly at Shino, you can just quit. I believe I just did. So I'd refrain from restating that fact over again. A tick mark formed on Kiba's head, then why? Shino pointed to Naruto, I'd rather not be injured from facing him. Kiba grumbled as Iruka chuckled and looked at his clipboard. Winner is Kiba by forfeit. Next match, Sasuke against Choji. Sasuke sighed as the fangirls were cheering him on as he and Choji entered the ring. Hajime. Sasuke and Choji charged each other. Choji pulled back his fist and threw it at Sasuke's gut. Sasuke let it hit to see how much power was behind it, but he was surprised. He knew Choji could hit harder than he did, so he decided to show him what holding back would cause. Choji was currently in shock that he landed a punch on Sasuke. Sasuke, however, took advantage of this and grabbed Choji's arm. He then swung Choji over his head and onto the ground, effectively knocking him out. A/N, I suck at fight scenes. Iruka cringed as Shikamaru grumbled and went to get his fallen friend, winner Sasuke by knockout. Now to the finals of the girls' bracket. Sakura against Hinata. Sakura ran into the ring thinking, yes, I can win this tournament for the girls and Sasuke-kun will finally notice me. I just have to beat Hinata. Hinata, on the other hand, just walked into the ring with the same dark aura she had when Sakura insulted Naruto. Naruto and Sasuke noticed this aura and started to pray, may the great log have mercy on your soul, Sakura/Haruno. Sakura took up the Academy Taijutsu stance and smirked, thinking she could beat the shy Hyuga. Hinata, on the other hand, simply took up her clan's style. Sasuke, Naruto, and Iruka gulped and thought, the great log has abandoned you, Haruno/Sakura. The fight didn't take long. Hinata charged Sakura and aimed for the pressure points and some of the major nerves while Sakura attempted to block. She was successful most of the time, but she was hit, causing her right arm to go limp. Sakura's eyes widened and jumped back, getting some ground between them. What the heck did you do? I've hit you pressure points in your arm, rendering it useless. Forfeit, or my actions will be justified. Everyone besides Sakura, again oblivious to the danger, shivered at Hinata's cold and neutral tone. Sakura smirked, well then you got lucky. She then charged Hinata using her left arm, planning to finish it in one punch. But Hinata had other plans. She dodged the initial punch and ruthlessly started hitting Sakura pressure points and nerve junctions. Naruto's eyes widened as he felt Hinata gather some chakra around her fingers. Shit. Hinata formed her hands into a tiger sign and sent her hands to the Pinkhead's gut while said Pinkette, closed her eyes waiting for the impact. But it never came. Sakura opened her eyes, saw a mop of blonde hair holding Hinata's arms. Hinata, you've won this match. There is no need for that. Hinata blinked as she realized what she was doing. She wanted to slap herself. Jigomen. Everyone, besides her friends and Sakura, fell to the ground anime style at Hinata's sudden change in behavior. Sakura just fell to her knees while Irika got to his feet again. He coughed. Sakura is unable to continue, so the winner is Hinata. She is the winner of the girls' tournament. Ino, who was awake now, walked up to Sakura and dragged her to the sidelines. Next match, Naruto Uzumaki against Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba ran into the ring while Naruto led Hinata to Sasuke. Sasuke smirked, "Don't take long, though." "Right, team." Naruto returned to his spot in the ring. Irika looked at the two before saying, "Hajime." Kiba smirked and looked at Akamaru. "Sit this one out, bud." Akamaru whined but went to the edge of the ring anyways. Naruto meanwhile. "Hey Kit." "What's up, Fuzzy?" He heard a growl before hearing the response. This guy has a short temper. Remember how to deal with people like that. Oh yes. Kiba was still smirking. "First I'll beat you, loser, then I'll beat that prick Uchiha." Naruto was busy cleaning his nails with a kunai when he looked at Kiba. "Did you say something?" Irika had to resist the urge to laugh while he heard a scream, "Damn your hip and cool attitude, Kakashi." Kiba growled and charged Naruto. Naruto sighed as he sidestepped and put his leg out. Kiba noticed this but knew he could stop. So he tripped over Naruto's leg and rolled out of the ring. Winner Naruto. Kiba growled as he stood up, watching Naruto stand in the ring. Irika sighed as he remembered something. "For this final match, we shall have a three-way brawl. Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata, please step in the ring." Hinata and Sasuke blinked before stepping into the ring and took up positions forming a triangle. Naruto smiled. Well, this is a surprise." "Agreed." Hinata stayed silent while Naruto flashed them his foxy grin. "Let's get to it." Half an hour later, A/N, "Yeah, I am lazy. Sue me." Everyone blinked while Sasuke was trying to hold in his laughter at the current predicament his friends were in. The fight had ended but not before Sasuke punched Naruto, sending him into Hinata, and they tumbled to the ground. Naruto was on top of Hinata, their faces inches apart, and they were both lit up like a tomato. Naruto jumped off of Hinata and sputtered, Hinata was already out cold due to the close proximity to Naruto. Irika chuckled. "Well, I guess that's it for today. Class dismissed." That night, Naruto's apartment. Naruto kicked off his shoes and sighed. After getting Hinata back to her home and ignoring Sasuke's constant teasing, he was ready for a long night's sleep. Until he remembered what he had planned. He closed his eyes and entered his mind with practiced ease. Mindscape. Kyubi tapped her foot as Naruto materialized in his mind. "You forgot, didn't you?" Naruto scratched the back of his neck sheepishly. "Yeah, but I'm here now." He motioned to the bracelet. "Shall we?" Kyubi nodded and held out her arm with the bracelet on it. Naruto held up his hand and a brush appeared. He slowly rearranged the kanji that was needed to do what they were planning. As the brush disappeared, Naruto looked at Kyubi. "Ready?" Kyubi gulped before nodded. "Hi." Naruto channeled some chakra into the seal, and it glowed. Then Naruto was forcibly expelled from his mind. Naruto's apartment. Naruto rolled back from where he was sitting and groaned, "Damn it. Kyubi, you there?" "Yeah, but..." She was cut off. Naruto blinked. "Kyubi?" "Nothing." "Kyubi, this ain't funny." Still nothing. Just silence. Naruto balled his fist. "Damn it. I might have just cut off my only connecty dash." He stopped as he felt a warmer sensation where his seal was. Some red chakra started to bubble out and continued to until it moved away from him and started rising. It then started to take a familiar shape as Naruto's eyes widened. The chakra then dispersed, revealing Kyubi, minus the tails, and her ears were normal. She blinked and breathed a very shallow breath before looking around with unbelieving eyes. She finally spoke, but without the demonic edge that was there in the mind's realm. "AMIOF. She couldn't finish as she was tackled to the ground by a yellow blur. She looked down and saw a teary-eyed Naruto as he sputtered, "I thought I. Kyubi smiled softly and hugged Naruto. "Ya ain't getting rid of me that easily, kid." He chuckled sadly as he relaxed, then fell asleep. Kyubi sat there like that while smiling at his sleeping form. "I may have found him, you old fart." Hokage Tower. Sarutobi blinked as he watched what happened at Naruto apartment. He then pinched his nose and sighed, "I'm getting too old for this crap." Next morning, Kyubi's eyes fluttered open and she sighed. Why did that dream have to? She heard a slight snore and looked down to see a ruff of blonde hair. Her eyes widened as she realized that last night wasn't a dream and that she was in Naruto's apartment, not his mindscape. She then relaxed, placed a hand on his head and lightly stroked his head. She then began on which of the jutsu she should teach Naruto since it was part of the bet. Kyubi was in the middle of her musings when she felt Naruto move and smirked. Wonder how he'll react? Naruto yawned as snuggled into his pillow soft. Kyubi's eye twitched as his pillow was her chest, but couldn't stop the blush from appearing on her cheeks either way. She looked at Naruto's face and all the frustration she held left her. He looked peaceful, something that was a rarity for him. She should know since she was the cause of it. Near Red Light District. Sasuke, do you even care now where Naruto-kun lives? Ka-san told me when I asked her a while back, but I haven't actually been there. Hinata looked at the path ahead, noticing that the buildings were getting shabbier and more civilians homeless. She gulped and took a step closer to Sasuke. And where does he live? Sasuke frowned. Red Light District, apparently. Nani? Why would Naruto-kun live there? She was too worried to notice some of the people around them tense up. Sasuke, however, did, but decided to stay calm. No clue. They continued in silence. Unbeknownst to them, one man leaned to the corner of the building he was leaning on. Gather a few people, whatever those brats want with the kid. It can't be good. Naruto's apartment. Kyubi sighed as she was starting to get stiff from not being able to move. She grumbled as she went through the hand signs for the substitution jutsu and appeared where Naruto's pillow was, while said pillow was where she was. She stood up and stretched, popping a few joints and relieving the stiffness in her back. Much better knowing that Naruto would most likely sleep, she decided to go exploring. Not that there was much exploring to do. The bathroom was small and very old. The kitchen was somewhat better. It had the usual commodities, fridge, sink, a few cabinets, etc., but when she opened the fridge, she wanted to scream. Inside was a week's worth, in Naruto's terms, of instant ramen. Unfortunately, that was one thing she was going to change. She smirked sadistically before setting to work on a breakfast with what wasn't ramen. At the lobby of Naruto's building. This is where Naruto lives, the landlord nodded, not really paying much attention to them, and reading a cheap book. Yeah. He's on the top floor. Do you know if he's awake? The landlord sighed. Nope, but I think you can just walk in. Sasuke's eyebrows furrowed. Why's that? The locks on his door is broke. A tick mark formed on Sasuke's forehead. Then why don't you fix it? You are the landlord, right? The landlord closed his book and looked at the brats, thinking they would know better, but once he saw them it explained everything. His glare intensified. Look, you clan brats, things are a lot different here than they are in those complexes you live in. Down here a broken lock's nothing. We got nothing of value besides the little cash we get doing odd jobs and maybe a picture or two, so there's no reason to repair a lock if you don't have something worth stealing. So why don't ya go back to where you came from? Sasuke clenched his fists before noticing that the stairs were occupied by what looked like locals and were creating an effective barrier. Some of them held a cigarette in their mouth or hand, but one of them, the biggest one, had a katana on his back and a worn-out headband on his arm. The leaf symbol was barely noticeable, but it still alerted Sasuke that he was a shinobi, even if retired. The only other thing that he found strange was his dull red hair. Hinata poked her forefingers together while Sasuke tried to explain. Look, we're friends with Naruto, we dash. Seriously. They are trying that move again. Stupid civilians. Sasuke blinked. The landlord was about to toss them out when the speaker activated. What's with all the fucking racket? 5 minutes ago in Naruto apartment. Kyubi sighed as Naruto ate and inhaled the plate of egg in front of him. You should chew, Naruto. Naruto gulped down his mouthful before waving her off. Yeah, so what are we going to call ya? You know a name? I can't exactly call you Kyubi in public. Right, how about Kumi? Naruto jumped out of his chair with his plate and walked over to the sink, depositing them into it. Continued Beauty? He thought it over. Kumi it is then. Kumi smiled and was about to say something when yelling was heard. Naruto's eye twitched and walked towards the door with Kumi close behind. He walked out and to the stairs. He stopped in front of a rectangular panel on the wall and pushed a button. He took a deep breath. What's with all the fucking racket? He released the button and went down the stairs, not bothering to wait for a reply, with Kumi blinked and still following him. When he reached the final flight of stairs, he saw a barricade made of people and recognized the male in the group. He sighed as he heard the landlord mumbling about annoying blondes and smirked. He walked down and rested a hand on the redhead's shoulder. What's going, Renji? Renji looked over his shoulder to Naruto. Nothing much, Dandelion. Just the civilian council trying the old kids are friends with you, trick. Naruto sighed and looked into the lobby. Who did they send? His eyes fell onto Sasuke and Hinata. Oh hey guys. Sasuke nodded while Hinata just blushed. Renji raised an eyebrow. You know these two? Naruto chuckled. Yeah, they're my friends that are my age at least. A scantily dressed orange-haired lady raised an eyebrow. Seriously? Yes, Ranjaku. Renji sighed as he stood up. Fine then. You know where to find us. Yeah, see you around. A short guy that looked more like a child smiled. Don't forget that tonight's at your place. Naruto nodded. Yup. I have everything ready. Renji smirked. Alright. See ya around, Dandelion. Naruto crossed his arms as they walked out the door and yelled, later tomato. He heard someone trip in curses with a roar of laughter. The group left, leaving a stupefied Sasuke and a bewildered Hinata, while the landlord just reopened his book and mumbled something incoherently. Naruto walked up to them. So what bring you here? We were wondering if you wanted to do something today. Who were they? Naruto shrugged. Some poker buddies. They are extremely protective of me for some reason. Sasuke nodded. Okay then. He points behind Naruto. Who is that? Naruto looked behind him and saw Kumi. Oh, another friend of mine. Get over here. Kumi internally growled as she approached the group. Hi, I'm Kumi Uzumaki. Sasuke blinked while Hinata tried to find the similarities between them. Naruto yelled in his mind. Seriously, Kumi? Why did you use my last name? Because it was that, or explaining why I didn't have a last name. Whatever. She's related to you? Directly no, but we do share the same blood. I so hate you for this. Sasuke smiled while Hinata was still figuring out the similarities. Naruto interlocked his hands behind his head. So what did you have planned? Sasuke sighed. Well, we were thinking about training a bit and then, I don't know, prank the council? Naruto's, and strangely enough, Kumi's eyes sparkled at the prospect of pranking the council. Fakori. Horrible place to stop, but that's all I got for our 3 in Konoha. On to the second part of this chapter. In the land of waves. I fucking hate this, a red-haired woman thought as she wrote in a scroll. This woman is Kushina Uzumaki, supposed dead mother of Naruto. She finished her report, and glared at the snake that was next to her. No sense in trying to glare holus into me, Kasine assassin. The snake hissed out. Doesn't mean I can't imagine it. True. Kushina rolled up the scroll and held it out to the snake. How much longer till I can leave the pedo's rule? The snake grabbed the scroll and swallowed it before hissing out, 2 more years. And my katana? The snake sighed, or what Kushina assumed was a sigh. You I'll have it within an hour after I deliver this report. The snake poofed, returning to Orochimaru. Kushina grumbled, stupid snake. She then stood up and walked out of her small house-well shack. She proceeded walking towards the ocean only to be stopped by a few of Gato's grunts. The taller one smirked. Hello there. Kushina resisted the urge to reach for her weapon at the flirtatious undertone in the grunt's voice. She sighed. What do you want? Gato-sama has had his eye on you for quite some time. Kushina raised an eyebrow, and? He wants you boys. Grab her. The other 2 grunts approached Kushina with lewd smirks on their faces. Kushina glanced around and saw everyone moving away or going into a building. She smirked. Well, since I need to practice anyways. Her hair slowly started to rise as a dark aura overcame her. You think you can take me by force? The tall one drew his blade, of course. After all, you are a woman. He was not long for this world. What? The tone in Kushina's voice promised death. Unfortunately for the grunt, he was oblivious. While there are a few exceptions, women will always be weak. Kushina's hair rose off the ground and split into 9 waving parts, looking like tails. Her smile turned sadistic as she extended arms and acted as though she threw a kunai. But instead of a kunai, 3 golden chains came from her hands and impaled the 2 approaching grunts through their heads, and the third hitting the leader in the heart. The grunt's eyes widened. But you can't be. He died before he revealed her identity. She sighed as she grabbed the katana and sheath. Studying it, she groaned, I hate when an amateur has a blade like this. The katana was an extremely well-balanced weapon made from chakra-conductive material. The only defect she could see was that it was dulled. She sheathed the katana. After hooking the sheath to her belt, she went through some hand signs and performed a simple fire jutsu, burning the bodies to ash. 2 years later, 2 days before the graduation exam evening. It's been 2 years since Kyubi, was let to roam free and has taken the identity of a supposed relative of Naruto. Since that day, Kumi has been like Naruto's shield from the glares of the villagers, mostly because of her intimidating personality. When school resumed that fall, she would help Naruto when he was available, and she even made friends with Naruto's poker buddies. Speaking of which, Kumi sighed as she walked through the red light district. She was used to the looks of lust from the drunks and the sober homeless men. What she wasn't used to was the annoyance next to her. Ah, come on. One date. No Renji for the umpteenth time and oh. Renji Abarai was Naruto's father figure, so to speak. He always was around when he thought he was needed and would fight to protect Naruto. Though he was about as persistent as a mosquito when it came to women. Kumi sighed as Renji left, deflated about being rejected by her for the umpteenth time. She walked up to Naruto's apartment and entered to see Naruto asleep on the floor, surrounded by scrolls and a few ramen cups. She smiled before walking over and picking him up, then went and laid him in bed. She herself poofed into a plume of smoke and took the appearance of a chibi fox. They both agreed that until he could afford a better home, she would take the form of a fox and lay on the bed in the form. Little did she know how much of a headache tomorrow would be. Next day morning, the day before the genin exams at Sasuke's place. Mikoto smiled as she watched Fugaku walk into the living room. Morning. HN. Do I need to teach about the dictionary again? No. Good. She handed him his cup of coffee and walked back to the kitchen. Fugaku grumbled as he walked past the window and briefly glanced out the window. His cup was to his mouth when he froze. He backed up, cup still at his lips, and stared at the sight in front of him. He then did another thing never expected from an Uchiha. He did a spit take. Mikoto ran out into the living room. What is it? Fugaku just pointed out the window. She looked and then quickly developed a twitch at the corners of her mouth. In front of them was the Hokage mountain with very painted faces. The first was perfectly white, making him look like whenever Mito got mad at him. The second looked like a lady, lipstick and all. The third was normal except for the very perverted grin on his face. The fourth was the only one that didn't look different. Sun-colored hair and azul eyes and all. But it's what was next to his head that caught their attention. Reserved for Naruto Uzumaki. Ha ha! He actually did it! Fugaku and Mikoto turned around to see Sasuke holding his gut on the floor laughing. Market District. Naruto laughed as he ran through the streets with Chunin after him. Naruto! Get back here! Ha ha! Come on! Lighten up! You're just mad that you don't have the guts to do what I did. Naruto jumped past the fence with the Chunin gaining. Then a part of the fence wrinkled as Naruto appeared from behind the sheet. I can't believe they didn't find me. Is that right, Naruto? Naruto paled as he turned around to see Iruka-sensei. Hey sensei, hee. 10 minutes later. The exams are tomorrow, Naruto. You have to stop acting like a brat and start taking this seriously. Naruto grumbled from his spot on the floor, hogtied. Iruka gained a tick mark on his forehead. Okay then. Since you decided to skip, the whole class will review the transformation jutsu. Everyone groans. A/N. I'm skipping to Naruto's transformation because I'm too lazy to go through everyone. Naruto Uzumaki. Ino glared. We always pay for you screw-ups, Naruto. Like I care, Naruto replied as he stepped forward. Iruka nodded, signaling for him to proceed, and mentally wished that it wasn't that jutsu. Transform. A plume of smoke appears around Naruto. Iruka raised an eyebrow as the smoke started to clear, then almost dropped his clipboard. In Naruto's place was the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, in his apparel he wore on the night of the Kyuubi attack. Naruto transformed back. Am I done, Iruka-sensei? Yes, Naruto. The bell rang signaling the end of school. Alright class, come at least 10 minutes early tomorrow so I can explain what the tests are about. Naruto was out of the room before the class could register what Iruka said. Naruto's apartment evening. Of all the stupidest, ill-conceived plans, Naruto Uzumaki, this takes the cake. Naruto winced as Kumi lectured him. But you have to admit it's funny. Kumi paused as she thought about the image she saw and couldn't help but smirk. True. Knock knock. Naruto gulped as Kumi jumped into the kitchen. He went to the door grumbling about traitorous foxes. He opened the door and smiled. Yo Renji, Ranjiku. Ranji smiled. Hey Dandelion. Saw what you did to the monument. Nice job. Ranjiku chuckled. Yeah? I still can't believe you did that. Hey, give me some credit. At least I didn't do what I did 6 years ago. Renji and Ranjiku shivered as they remembered that day well. Renji entered with Ranjiku close behind. So ready for the exam tomorrow? Oh yeah? I'm ready for anything. Ranjiku smirked. Even the clone jutsu? Naruto instantly deflated. You just had to bring that one up. Ranjiku laughed while Renji just shook his head. Renji looked at the time. Well, we better get going. Can't keep you up talking. Naruto nodded and waved as they left. He then jumped into bed with Chibi Fox version Kumi close behind him. Exam day. Naruto grumbled as he was awakened from a beautiful dream, where ramen was everywhere, by his mortal enemy. The alarm clock. He chucked it at the wall while Kumi, who was already up, replaced the clock on his bedstand. Naruto rubbed his eyes and crawled out of bed. Kumi smirked. Get a move on, kid. You have 5 minutes before you have to be the. Kumi felt a gust of wind zoom past her and out the door. Rishi sighed. Yep, exactly like Kushina. Academy? How long this time? A minute or so. Sasuke smiled. Hinata was slowly losing her stutter, but it came back in full force whenever Naruto is around. She opened his mouth when a blur hit Hinata and sent it and her tumbling. He blinked and looked at the, for lack of better words, crash. He resisted the urge to laugh. Hyuga House Clan Head's office. Hisashi stopped grumbling about the elders as he felt like something happened. Why do I feel the urge to kill Naruto? Back at the academy. Sasuke's mental barrier was about to break at the scene in front of him. Naruto blinked as he looked at what he hit more like who. Hinata, on the other hand, was so red it put the Uzumaki's hair to shame. She was chanting in her mind, "Don't faint." Naruto was on top of Hinata and their lips were locked. Naruto jumped off Hinata and exclaimed, "Sorry, Hinata-chan. I wasn't really paying attention," and Hinata was already out. Sasuke let out a snort of laughter before picking Hinata up by her arm and draped it over his shoulder. You going to help me or wait for Hayashi to find out? That was a no-brainer. Classroom. Naruto and Sasuke carefully guided Hinata into her chair and then sat down in their respective seats. Just in time for Iruka to enter and start handing out the tests, so the first part of this is a written test. You'll have 45 minutes to complete this test. You may begin. Sasuke nudged Hinata, who jumped slightly and then focused on the test in front of her. Naruto looked through the questions and quickly answered them. He pushed his sheet aside and took a nap, confident about his passing. Little did he know that there was a genjutsu on his test scrambling the answers. 2 hours later. Naruto sighed as he woke up. What is it? Iruka sighed. It's time for your jutsu test, Naruto. Naruto jumped up. Oh. He ran to the examinee room with Iruka following behind. Iruka smiled as he held up a clipboard. First up is the substitution jutsu. Naruto smirked as he made the necessary sign and poofed. He appeared where Mizuki was while Mizuki, who was sitting, fell down. Good. Now the transformation. Naruto quickly transforms into Mizuki, then back. And next the clone jutsu. Naruto gulped and made the required sign. He started pouring chakra into it, and a larger puff of smoke appeared. When it dispersed, it revealed a very sickly Naruto. Iruka sighed. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you fail. Naruto's face were in shock. He knew that he would pass even without the clone technique. Mizuki raised an eyebrow. Come on, Iruka. Why don't we pass him? I mean, he did at least make one. Naruto got his hopes up. Which Iruka shot down with his next statement. He failed his written test and only can do 2 of the required techniques. He isn't ready to be a genin. Naruto's shoulders slumped, and he walked out of the room, looking longingly at the headbands. Iruka frowned and sighed, closing his eyes. Neither noticed the sadistic look in a certain Chunin's eyes. Naruto walked towards his stop just short of the door when he saw that everyone, including his best friends, had passed. They were conversing about the team assignments in a week. He didn't want to deal with them right now, so he just continued out the door and leaped away. Classroom. Sasuke smiled as he looked at the headband around Hinata's neck. Nice job. UT2. Sasuke looked around. So where that dope? I expected him to come yelling about him being one step closer to being Hokage. Hinata shrugged just as Iruka and Mizuki entered the classroom. Iruka smiled. Take a seat, everyone. Almost everyone complied. Iruka continued to smile. First off, I'd like to congratulate all of you that passed. This is your first step onto the road of a ninja. After today, you're no longer academy students, but genin. So go out and celebrate. Until the team assignments in a week. Again, congratulations. Sasuke raised his hand. Iruka-sensei, where is the dobe? Didn't he pass? Iruka shook his head. He didn't. He got the second worst score since the start of the academy. With that, he left. Everyone ran outside while Hinata and Sasuke just sat there. Hinata. HM? Something's up. Naruto is one of the smartest people we know. AGR read. Let's look for him. Right. And with that, they left out the window. Somewhere in the village. Naruto looked out at the village from a balcony that was long since abandoned. For 4 years, he studied, trained, and researched for the exams, and he blew it. He knew he answered the questions on the exam right, but it seems that something happened. But what? Hey, Naruto. Naruto turned and saw Mizuki sitting next to him. Hey, sensei. Mizuki placed a concerned face. What's up? Take a guess. Ah, well, Iruka is doing what's best. He wants you to be prepared for the life of a ninja. But... Mizuki sighed and looked up at the sky. You know, there is a secret test that hasn't been used in a long time. I've never heard of another test. What is it? Mizuki smiled. Here's what you have to do. Hours later, evening with Hinata and Sasuke. Sasuke sighed. Where is he? I don't know. A high-pitched alarm sounded, and when they looked up, they saw many blurs overhead. What's going on? That's the alarm for everyone above the rank of genin to report to the tower. Sasuke sighed. Naruto, an idea popped into his head. Didn't Naruto say that he used the forest to practice his kunai and shuriken throwing? Right. Sasuke ran towards the entrance of the village. I have an idea where he is then. Come on. Konoha Forest. Naruto snickered as he jumped from branch to branch. I still can believe that worked. Meanwhile, at the Hokage Tower, the mummers of the Jonin and Chunin below were the only thing heard until Sarutobi stepped forward, prompting silence. Sarutobi took his pipe out of his mouth and took a deep breath before speaking. The forbidden scroll of sealing has been stolen by Naruto Uzumaki earlier tonight. Kakashi looked up from his Ika. He's joking, right? Sarutobi continued. Your orders are to apprehend him and recover the scroll. Go! The gathered shinobi scattered. Sarutobi sighed as his secretary walked up behind him. Sir? How did Uzumaki get past you? I know that you are the sole protector of the scroll, so... Well... Flashback no jutsu. Sarutobi sighed as he signed yet another document. It was 9 o'clock in the evening, and he has been working on paperwork since 8 in the morning. He stood up and stretched. As he did so, he heard his office door open. When he looked, He saw Naruto enter and head towards the location of the sealing scroll. He raised an eyebrow. Naruto? What are you doing here? Naruto froze. Crap. Come on, Naruto, think. He mentally gained a mischievous grin. Oh yes, Naruto made a hand sign. Transform. Sarutobi raised an eyebrow. Naruto, what are you? His eyes widened. Before he was knocked out, but a geyser of blood come from his nose. Kai. Sarutobi to a long draw of his pipe. Let's just say Naruto is getting better in his stealth. Forest clearing outside Konoha. Naruto laughed as he set the scroll of sealing on the ground. Oh boy. Of all the jutsu, mine can beat the Hokage. Ha! After a few minutes of enjoying his accomplishment, he sat down and looked at the scroll. So all I have to do is learn one jutsu from this scroll, huh? Should be easy enough. He smiled as he removed the latch holding the skull closed. As he unraveled it, he froze at the first jutsu. He then screamed, "Oh, come on!" The first jutsu was named the Shadow Clone Jutsu. He glared as he read on. The Shadow Clone Jutsu is a B-rank jutsu created by the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju. This turned Naruto's glare into a look of fascination. This jutsu is a variation, or even an advanced version, of the clone jutsu. But instead of creating illusions of the user, it makes solid copies. These clones are able to do anything, which includes jutsu and combat. However, if a clone gets a solid hit, it will disperse. The user will gain the memories from the dispersed clone, which makes a great scouting jutsu. This jutsu, however, requires the user to split his/her chakra in half repeatedly depending on the clones made. While one gains the memories of the clones, any chakra used will be dispersed with the clone. Also, any fatigue will also be transferred. This jutsu shall only be used by exceptional Jonin and Kage. Anyone without at least high Jonin level chakra capacity could and most likely will die. Naruto blinked as he looked at the hand signs. Really? Such a complex jutsu requires only the tiger seal. He shrugged as he laid the scroll in front of him and made the tiger seal a couple of times before channeling his chakra, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Konoha rooftops. Mizuki laughed internally as he hopped from rooftop to rooftop. I knew that demon would follow my instructions. He's nothing but an idiot. He glanced at the two large shuriken on his back, and once I deal with the demon, I can take the scroll and return to Orochimaru-sama before this pathetic village even notices. He let a small smirk appear on his face as he continued to the soon-to-be final resting place of one Naruto Uzumaki. Konoha Forest clearing. Naruto plopped on the ground and panted, "Wow. Naruto!" Naruto turned around and saw Iruka, who was furious as he glared. "Oh hey Iruka-sensei. Wow, you found me fast." Naruto scratched the back of his head while flashing his trademark smile. "I only had time to learn one jutsu." Iruka looked at Naruto's appearance. "He has been practicing." Naruto continued, ignoring Iruka's questioning glance. "So now I can be a genin, right Iruka-sensei?" "What are you talking about, Naruto?" "I learned a jutsu from this scroll, so now I pass, right?" Iruka raised an eyebrow. "Who told you that?" "Mizuki-sensei told me about the secondary exam and that if anyone can learn a jutsu from this scroll, they can become a genin." Iruka's eye widened slightly as the realization dawned on him. He then heard the familiar sound of kunai. "Get down!" He pushed Naruto out of the way as kunai landed into the wood door behind him and some hitting his thigh. "Iruka-sensei." Mizuki smirked as he appeared on a branch. Well, looks like you found our little hiding spot, Iruka." He turned to Naruto, who was clutching the scroll. "Naruto, give me the scroll and I'll pass you." Iruka grunted as he pulled out a kunai. "Don't do it, Naruto. He only wants the scroll for himself." But. Mizuki smiled more as he started to channel some chakra into his fingers. "Iruka's only trying to hold you back. He despises you just like everyone else, and you want to know why." Naruto's eyes widened. "What are you talking about?" Iruka glared. "No, Mizuki." Mizuki chuckled. "The reason why the entire village hates you is very simple. 12 years ago, when the Kyuubi attacked, the fourth didn't defeat the Kyuubi. He sealed it into a newborn. It's forbidden. The Kyuubi is the one who killed Iruka's parents. And the fact is that that newborn was you. You are the reincarnation of the Kyuubi, Naruto." Naruto faked his shock while internally he sighed. "And I have a feeling that what I'm about to do will prove it." Mizuki laughed as he charged Naruto and nailed him in the gut, sending chakra into the seal. He then jumped away. Naruto's apartment. Kumi sighed as she started to plan Naruto Torahem training Zion when she felt a pull on her chakra. Wah! She disappeared in a poof of smoke. Clearing. Naruto's eyes widened as Kumi landed where Mizuki was just moments ago. Mizuki laughed. So the demon is your guardian? Haha. That I must admit I wasn't expecting. Iruka's eyes widened and gained an essence of fear as he looked at Kumi, but she can't be, it must. Unbeknownst to them, two more pairs of eyes were staring in disbelief. Bushes. Sasuke gulped. She's the Kyuubi. Hinata nodded, not trusting her voice. They thought back to all of the glares Naruto had gained and why those people in the red light district protected him. How did you stand that, let alone survive? Naruto-kun. They then both thought about what their father said and imagined if they hadn't met Naruto. Back with Naruto and company. Naruto gulped as Kumi blinked and looked around. Kit. Well, Iruka, since you know my plans, I'll kill you first, then I'll deal with the demon and his whore. He grabbed his shuriken and smirked, not noticing the temperature change. He was about to throw his shuriken when he was sent flying into a tree. UGH. He looked where he was and saw Naruto glaring at him. If you touch my sensei, I'll kill you. Mizuki laughed as he grabbed his second large shuriken. Right, demon brat. You don't stand a chance against me. He threw it at Naruto, who stood his ground. Two blurs came from the bushes and landed in front of Naruto just before the sound of metal hitting metal was heard. The shuriken fell to the ground as Mizuki and Naruto recognized them. Sasuke and Hinata stood with their kunai in their hands, having successfully blocked the shuriken. Mizuki's anger grew. So the hires of the Hyuga and Uchiha are demon lovers. Ah well, I can make it look like the demon killed you too before I finished him. The temperature dropped considerably, finally catching Mizuki's attention. Naruto was in shock when he saw his friends and assumed that they heard what Mizuki said. What if he didn't finish the thought when he heard Mizuki's plan? He formed the tiger sign as his pupils turned red and stilted, multi-shadow clone jutsu. The clear filled with smoke and revealed Naruto with thousands of clones. Mizuki glanced around before falling on his butt. What? I thought you were going to deal with us. But since you don't seem to be coming at us, we'll bring the fight to you. They all charged as Sasuke, Hinata and Iruka thought. Those aren't illusions. They're real. Kumi, however, just smirked as she backed and leaned against a tree. A little while later, Naruto sheepishly scratched the back of his head as he walked away from the pile of flesh known as Mizuki. I think I went a little overboard. Sasuke chuckled. Dobe, I honestly think that you are incapable to do anything within reason. Naruto glared. Shit it, team. Naruto broke his glare from Sasuke and focused on Iruka. Yes? Close your eyes. Naruto raised an eyebrow but closed his eyes anyways. Okay. Open them. Naruto did so, and the first thing he noticed was that Iruka's headband was gone, and in his hand was Naruto's goggles. To the right, Sasuke, Hinata, and Kumi were smiling at him as he looked at Iruka, who was beaming. Congratulations, Naruto. You graduate. Naruto's eyes widen as Iruka continues, and to celebrate, we're going out for ramen. Yahoo! Naruto started in the direction of Konoha for his ramen. Only 10 bowls. Thud. The strange group laughed as they saw Naruto gracefully meet a tree face first into it, that is. Wave County. Kushina smiled as she finished writing in a scroll and handed it to the snake. I believe that this is the last time we shall see each other, Snake. Said Snake nodded as it swallowed the scroll. Yes? Just remember about the scroll that you will deliver whenever you get to Konoha. Yeah, now head back to your pedophile master. The snake sighed. Says how some respect please, even though sheesh isn't wrong. Did you forget who you're talking to? She didn't get an answer because the snake had already went on its way. Her smile widened as she plopped down onto her futon, finally free. Little did she know her whole world would be thrown into both chaos and confusion. A week after the Mizuki incident, Naruto smiled as he walked to the academy for the last time. I'm finally a genin. No more boring stuff and no more tests. If only he knew. Kumi, disguised as a fox, looked at Naruto and thought through their link. Naruto, Don't forget that Genin's missions are D ranks, meaning the worst of the worst. Yeah, like the infamous Torah assignment. Naruto shivered as he recalled Team 9 chasing said cat twice in one day. Naruto was about to respond when he noticed the fence went horizontal then vertical again. He sighed, Konohamaru, you holding the sheet in the wrong way again. The fence shuddered before dropping, revealing a small kid with a ridiculously long scarf. He, you caught me again, boss. I expect nothing less from my rival. Naruto blinked. What is it, Konohamaru? I wanted to spend time with ya, boss. Naruto smirked. I'd love to, but I have to go to the academy. You see, as of today, I'm a genin. As he said that, he tapped his headband. No fair. Naruto laughed. Don't worry, Konohamaru. I'll spend time with you when I can, alright? Konohamaru sighed. Fine. Naruto smiled as he continued on his way to the academy, as Kumi hopped onto his shoulder and proceeded to wrap her tail behind Naruto's neck. At the academy, Naruto opened the door to his classroom and stepped in. And was met with incredulous stares, minus Sasuke and Hinata. Hi. No response. He sighed as he walked to the seat next to the window, next to Hinata and Sasuke. Kumi jumped off his shoulder and onto the desk. Sasuke raised an eyebrow and looked at Naruto, which asked the unspoken question, Kumi? Naruto nodded as Kumi walked over to Hinata, who scooped her up and petted her. Naruto smirked at the sight. Naruto? What are you doing here? And what's with the fox? Naruto turned around to face Kiba, the one who asked, and pointed to his headband. See this? This here proves I graduated and I can be here. As for the fox, I found her while I was walking here. I was planning on taking her to the vet sooner or later. Kiba snorted while Akamaru just looked fearfully at Kumi. Naruto smirked, so Akamaru can sense Kumi's chakra. Interesting. Just then, the ground started to shake. What's going on? Is it an earthquake? Naruto blinked before, involuntarily grabbing Hinata, who and got to the ground. Sasuke was soon to follow. Just as the shaking hit its peak, the classroom door opened and revealed, first. Naruto sighed, just Sakura and Ino. Most of the class sighed, being used to the duo's antics. Naruto sighed as he stood up, then realized what he had done. Hinata was out and as red as the traditional Uzumaki hair. While Sasuke was chuckling at his friend's predicament, Naruto glared before remembering a particular event at a bakery. Hey Hinata. Sasuke's about to eat the last cinnamon bun. Sasuke's eyes widened before being tackled by a blue blur. He looked up and saw Hinata with a crazed look on her face. Where is it? Naruto laughed as the rest of the class looked with horror at Hinata. They had only seen her mad once, but this is the first time she wasn't mad. Hinata's eyes became clear before hopping off of Sasuke. Gomen. Naruto started to calm down as Iruka came in. Iruka smiled as he watched the class rush to their seats and a fox hop onto Naruto's desk. Iruka's smile grew. Today you leave this school not as academy students. Naruto sighed as he drowned Iruka out. A/N. I'd write out the speech in Team 1 to 6, but I don't feel like it. Naruto tuned back in as he realized on the clan heirs and him were left for teams. Iruka cleared his throat. Team 7 will consist of Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga. Naruto did a backflip in his head. Oh yeah, I get to be on a team with one of my friends. Hinata smiled and poked her forefingers together. I get to be on a team with Naruto-kun. And Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto stood up with his arms in the air. Yahoo! Sasuke smirked while inwardly thanking the log. I'm not stuck with a fangirl. Iruka continued. Team 8 will consist of Kiba Inuzuka, Sakura Haruno, and Shino Abrame. Naruto flinched as he looked back at Kiba and Shino, sending them a pitiful look. Kiba meanwhile was banging his head against his desk while Shino was Shino. While they weren't his friends, he still felt bad that they got stuck with the Banshee. Team 9 is still in rotation, so Team 10 will consist of Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akimichi, and Shikamaru Nara. Ino sighed, not lazy and food boy. Iruka put his clipboard to his side. Again, I am very proud of all of you. You have about an hour for lunch, then you will meet your sensei back here. It took a turn and left while everyone slowly filed out of the room with their teams. Naruto looked at Hinata and Sasuke as they left the academy. So what do you guys want to eat? I don't care. Naruto smiled, then let's go. As long as it isn't ramen. Oh, come on. Hinata looked to the side. How about barbecue? Sasuke and Naruto looked at her, somewhat incredulously. Naruto was the first to get out of their stupor. Hinata, you barely stuttered, while they knew that she was slowly losing the stutter. They've only heard her not stutter when angry or in a cinnamon bun craze. Hinata blushed slight and poked her forefingers together. Sasuke sighed as he got out of his confusion. A great idea, Hinata. Naruto nodded and they headed off to the closest barbecue place. Barbecue grill. Naruto sniffed the air as they came close to the place. I admit it smells good. Not as good as ramen, but... Dobe, to you nothing is better than ramen. That's because ramen is the food of the gods. Yeah. As they neared the entrance, the head waiter looked at them and sent a very undisguised look of disgust towards Naruto. He looked at the other members of Team 7, Uchiha-sama, Hiruzen-sama, it's a pleasure to have you. Unbeknownst to the waiter, Sasuke and Hinata were holding back on make the waiter into a waitress. Sasuke nodded as he passed with Hinata. As Naruto headed in, the waiter stopped him. You, boy, can leave. Naruto inwardly sighed. Why? We don't need your kind here. And what kind would that be? The waiter looked behind him and saw that Sasuke and Hinata were looking at him. The waiter forced a smile. This boy is not welcomed in the establishment. Sasuke looked at Hinata. What would our fathers think that this restaurant is refusing service to our friend? They'd most likely discredit it. Sasuke nodded as the waiter paled. What was worse was the owner was coming. The owner was a firm, pleasantly chubby woman who stood as tall as the waiter, if not taller. On her shoulder was the proud symbol of the Akimichi clan. What is going on here? Sasuke looked at the Akimichi and recognized her to be Choji's mother. He smiled. This waiter is refusing to let our friend in. Choji's mom looked around the waiter and smiled as she saw Naruto. Naruto. How nice to see you. Naruto politely bowed his head. Hello, Mrs. Akimichi. I heard that you beat Choji in a eating contest. That's quite the accomplishment. Naruto smiled, remembering how he beat Choji by almost 17 bowls of ramen. Well, I had an unfair advantage. Mrs. Akimichi raised an eyebrow. Oh? I've been eating ramen since I've been able to eat, so my gut can hold a lot. The waiter, while this was happened, became deathly pale. Not only was the demon friends with the heirs of the Uchiha and Hyuga clan, but also a friend of the Akimichis, and he refused to let him enter. Senho? The waiter, now known as Senho, gulped. Why yes. We shall talk at the end of the day. Later, back at the academy. Naruto glared at the chalkboard as he sat at his desk. An hour and 20 minutes. Who made our sensei a jonin? Sasuke nodded as Hinata was too engrossed with a book to answer. Kumi was asleep in Hinata's lap. Naruto stood up. Well, it's time to teach this guy not to mess with me. Sasuke smirked as he watched Naruto set up a complex system of catapults, ninja wire, and chalk dust. Prank number 75. Nice choice. Naruto nodded. Yeah? I'd do number 86, but I forgot my explosive tags at home. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. Not to mention would be a little overkill. Maybe. 1 hour 40 minutes later. Maybe you should have used number 86. Naruto nodded, agreed. Out in the hall, a silver-haired Jonin walked casually to where Team 7 was. As he reached for the door, his survival instincts were telling him to avoid the door. He ignored it. Oh, what a sad mistake that was. As soon as the door opened, a eraser landed on his head, then onto the floor. He blinked as a loud snap was heard and looked to his left, only to see a large balloon coming his way. He rolled into the room, avoiding the balloon, which exploded in a cloud of dust. However, where he landed there was another snap. He looked up as a bucket of chalk dust dumped its contents onto him. When he got the dust out of his eye, he looked at the desks, instantly taking notice of the 3 genin, who were barely containing their laughter. Kakashi sighed. Right, Naruto? He stood and examined the genin. Well, my first impression of you is the genin looked at them, having settled down slightly. You're a bunch of idiots. A dark cloud of depression shrouded the genin. Meet on the roof in 10 minutes. Kakashi then shine to the roof in a swirl of leaves. Naruto smiled as he high-fived Sasuke. Another successful prank. Agreed. Now we need to get to the roof. Race ya! Sasuke smiled as he watched Naruto leave, then ran after him, leaving Hinata to trail behind with a sleeping fox now on her head. Rooftop. Naruto smirked as he looked at the somewhat dusty Jonin in front of him. Beside him was Hinata, who was still petting Kumi, and Sasuke, who was grumbling about annoying blonde stamina freaks. Kakashi looked at them. So how about we get started? First let's start with introductions. Hinata looked at Kakashi. How about you start? Kakashi shrugged. Sure. I'm Kakashi Hatake. My likes don't feel like saying them, dislikes same as likes, hobbies don't really have any. My dream, I'll have to get back with you on that. Team 7 collectively sweat dropped. All we got was his name. Now how about you, Dandelion? Naruto glared at Kakashi as Sasuke quietly chuckled. Naruto straightened his headband. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are spending time with Hinata-chan and Sasuke team, gardening, and ramen. My dislikes are hypocrites, the 3 minutes it takes to make instant ramen, and perverts. Somewhere in the land of fire, a spiky-haired man sneezed, alerting the women in the onsen that someone was peeking. My hobbies are gardening, drawing seals, and pranking. My dream is to be the greatest Hokage. Kakashi was somewhat shocked at his hobbies. Pranking and gardening, sure, but seal making, he's turning into you, sensei. Interesting duck hairdo, you next. This time Sasuke glared while Naruto snickered. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. My likes are spending time with my friends, training, and tomatoes. My dislikes are hypocrites and perverts. Again, the spiky-haired man sneezed, alerting the women that he was in fact still alive. My hobbies are training and reading. My dream for the future is to surpass my brother, Itachi. Kakashi nodded, again interesting. He looked at Hinata. How about you, Blue? This time Kakashi felt the air cool slightly and noticed that Naruto and Sasuke were glaring at him. My name is Hinata Hyuga. My likes are gardening and reading. My dislikes are perverts. Once again the spiky-haired man sneezed, alerting the women that somehow he was alive. My hobbies are gardening and my dream is to bridge the gap in the Hyuga clan. Naruto smiled as Sasuke nodded. Kakashi, on the other hand, remained emotionless. Good. You are each unique in your own way, and you are each your own person. However, I have something to tell you. The genin leaned forward to listen. You aren't technically genin. Naruto was the first to react. What? Then what was that test for? Kakashi simply replied, that was to weed out those who weren't ready for the chance to become genin. In all honesty, out of the 27 graduates, only 9 will become genin. Silence was met with that response. Tomorrow, I'll test you. Be at training ground 7 at 7 a.m. He turned away. Also don't eat breakfast. And if we do, you'll throw up. He shined away. After that the genin of Team 7 walked home in a daze. Next day, Sasuke grumbled as he walked to the training grounds and walked into a very interesting sight. Apparently Naruto and Hinata had gotten there before him and both decided to go to sleep knowing that Kakashi will be late. They somehow ended up against the post, sleeping very close together. Naruto had his arm draped around Hinata's shoulders and his head laying gently on her head, while Hinata was using Naruto's chest as a pillow. Sasuke's lip was twitching with the blackmail material from this. He leaned against the post and waited. 3 hours later. Kakashi shined into the training ground. Yo. You're late. Sorry, I got lost on the road of life. Kakashi looked around and sighed as the other 2 students were asleep. He didn't notice Sasuke's mischievous smirk. Kakashi, don't you think you should save that bowl of ramen and the last cinnamon bun for later? Kakashi raised an eyebrow before being tackled to the ground. Where is it? 5 minutes later. Kakashi sighed as he set an alarm clock on the stump. This exercise is simple. He pulled out 2 bells. You have to get these bells before noon or you get tied to a post. Don't get lunch and get to watch me eat it in front of you. Growl. Kakashi smirked. Naruto raised his hand. But sensei, there are only 2 bells and 3 of us. Well, I have to have one of you get tied to a post. Plus the one who doesn't get a bell gets sent back to the academy. Some lightning flashes behind him. Ready? Go! The genin flashed out of the clearing. Shinobi should be able to hide and disguise themselves into the surrounds. Only the blowing of the wind is heard, well, they have that part down. Meanwhile, Naruto was perched on a branch, 2 bells. How are we supposed to become genin if only 2 of us pass? Wait, I've never heard of a 3-man genin team, so there is something. Wait, 9 genin, that means. He smirked and went to find Sasuke and Hinata. He easily found Hinata under a bush, and Hinata pointed out where Sasuke was. Alright, Naruto. What is it? Don't you find this odd? Sasuke nodded, of course. Have you ever heard of a 3-man cell? They thought on that and didn't come up with anything. This isn't about the bells. Naruto nodded, it's about how we get the bells. As a team. Sasuke smirked, so what's the plan? Well. Clearing. Kakashi sighed as he turned a page to his book. It's been 20 minutes since he started and they haven't attacked. He was about to go hunt them when Naruto stepped out. Kakashi sighed, you are an odd. Oh, he was interrupted when a giant fireball came from his left. He ducked only to be assaulted by Hinata, who made multiple jabs at his waist and back. He easily moved away from Hinata and into the army of Naruto. What the? Naruto smirked as he and every other clone started to bulge. Kakashi's eye widened. Boom! Hokage Tower. Sarutobi sighed as he rubbed his temples, nursing the growing headache. Just great, Naruto can do explosive clones. Ground 7. Kakashi gulped as he popped out of the ground next to the massive crater. Maybe I should not underestimate them. He pulled himself out of the ground as Naruto smirked. How was that? How did you? Naruto smiled and rubbed the back of his neck. Well, I accidentally overloaded on E of my clones and yeah. Kakashi gulped again. Well, you still haven't got the bells? Kakashi whirled around as he heard a tinkle of the bells. His eye widened as he saw Hinata holding the bells. He thought back, you grabbed them when you attacked. Hinata nodded as Kakashi sighed, see, congratulations, so who get the other bell? Well, actually, Kakashi looked towards Naruto, and his eye nearly fell out of his skull. I think we should all pass or your book becomes toast. Sasuke smirked as he quickly went through the signs of his fireball jutsu, stopping at before the final sign. Wait. We can diss. 5. But how Abio? 4. Sto. 3. I will have yo. 2. Fine. Naruto smirked as he tossed the book to Kakashi. Kakashi, having his precious back, glared, you knew the reason. Naruto nodded, yep, besides Hinata and Sasuke are my friends. If I had to choose between them and becoming a genin, I'd choose them. Kakashi sighed, well then I guess you pass. Naruto jumped and yelled, YHO! While Sasuke and Hinata were silently congratulating themselves. Kakashi put his book in the back pouch. Tomorrow we go for our first mission. And I can't wait to torture you with it. Hokage Tower. The third sighed along with the assembled Jonin senseis as they waited for Kakashi only for him to appear. Yo, I got lost on the road of life? Encountered an old lady and helped her with her bags? Had a black cat cross your path and you took a different route? Hit your head and forgot there was something until now? Sarutobi chuckled as Kakashi lined up with the rest of the Jonin. Let us get started. Team 1 failed. Seriously, who taught those fangirls? Team 2 failed miserably. Team 3 and 4 failed and I recommend removal from the program. Team 5 fail. They abandoned one of their members to complete the assignment. Team 6 failed so badly that they thought this was a game. Asuma smirked, Team 10 passed. As expected. Kurenai sighed, Team 8 passed barely. Everyone looked at Kakashi, who was reading. Kakashi. HM? Your team? Oh, they passed. Everyone blinked as what he said registered into their brain. Asuma and Kurenai sighed as they pulled out their wallets and handed Kakashi 50 ryo. How you knew they would pass? Guessed really? Asuma lit a cigarette and took a long draw from it. So how'd they do? Let's just say I can see great things in their future. How'd they get past you? Naruto's explosive shadow clones. What? Hate groaned, we're doomed. Forest. Is everyone in position? Sunshine in position. Be blue in position. Silence ensues until a sigh is heard. Duckass in position, Sunshine. Next time I choose the code names. Hey, you lost the coin toss. Cut the chatter. Is the target in sight? Hi. Alright, move in. Naruto, Hinata, and Sasuke charged towards a cat. Naruto nabbed it as Sasuke pressed the talk button on his radio. This is Duckass. Target acquired. Identity confirmed? Sasuke looked at the cat, who was busy removing the flesh from Naruto's face, red bow on the right ear. Alright. Capture Tora the cat completed. Silence ensued for a few seconds before. Why do we get these shitty missions? Kakashi tilted comically to the side as his hyperactive student nearly blew his eardrum. Village. Naruto and Sasuke, who was covered with scratch marks, glared at Tora, who was purring as Hinata petted him her it. Out of all of Team 7, the demons spawned liked Hinata for some reason. Hokage Tower. Tora. Naruto and Sasuke and most likely everyone in the room, besides Hinata, smiled with pleasure as the daimyo's wife squeezed the living life out of the unfortunate cat. Revenge is sweet. The daimyo's wife smiled as she handed the Samryo over to a Chunin. Sarutobi pulled out a scroll, yet another mission complete, Team 7. He unfolded as the wife left. Next we have pulling weeds, painting fences, picking up garbage. Crash. Tora. Capturing Tora. Everyone's sweat dropped as it seemed that the Hokage didn't miss a beat. Come on, old man. We need a more challenging mission, no more of this crap. Iruka stood abruptly. Naruto. You are talking to the Hokage, show some respect. Sarutobi sighed. Naruto, do you know why we have different ranks of missions? It's to know what level of shinobi we need to send. As you know, at the highest rank to go out on missions is ANBU, then Jonin, then Chunin, and then Genin. Of those ranks, ANBU take on S and A rank missions. Jonin usually take on A, B, D, B rank. Chunin take on C rank and the occasion B rank. While you Genin get mainly the D ranks. The easiest of the missions. So I was planning on going to Ichiraku's and trying some of their new. Naruto. Naruto turned around from his team, who had also found the conversation interesting. I already know this, old man, and believe me, we are ready. Sarutobi sighed. Naruto. Sasuke smirked. Hey Naruto. When's your new prank going to happen? Everyone besides Team 7 and Kakashi froze and thought, new PP prank. Naruto looked at Sasuke confused before catching on and chuckling, who knows? After all, it takes time to set up catapults, fill paint balance, get those new shadow clones in place, the usual. Sarutobi paled as he imagined what would happen, the paperwork. Iruka sighed. If you think. Get them AC rank. Iruka stared at Sarutobi. W what? The third looked at Iruka with a paled face, the paperwork from the prank that they are describing. Kakashi, I smiled. I don't know whether to be happy or fearing for my life that my genin can blackmail the Hokage. Iruka, shakily, grabbed a scroll from the top. I believe that this would do the trick. The third grabbed the scroll and looked it over before internally smiling. Oh, sweet revenge. This shall do. Bring in the client. The door behind Team 7 opened, and they looked. This is the client. To see an old man drinking a bottle of sake. He looked at the team and snorted. I pay for protection and I get a bunch of brats? And the girl looks like she's barely dash. The bottle in his hand shattered. Thud. Thud. His eyes widened as he glanced at the wall behind him to see two kunai embedded into the wall. He looked back at Team 7 to see Sasuke and Naruto ever so casually twirling kunai on their fingers. Kakashi sighed. Sasuke Naruto killing the client wouldn't be the best idea. Sasuke nodded as he placed his kunai back into his holster. Naruto soon did the same, albeit more reluctantly. The old man gulped. Well, my name is Tazuna, a master bridge builder, and I need you to escort me back to my home in the land of waves. Kakashi nodded. All right. He turned to his team. Go home and get enough supplies to last about a month and meet at the front gate in about 2 hours. Team 7 nodded and left, soon followed by Kakashi and Tazuna. Naruto's apartment. Naruto sighed as he sealed a supply of instant ramen into a scroll and set the scroll into his bag. He looked around before heading to the door, with Kumi close behind. Naruto looked at Kumi, who was in her human form. Kumi, what are you doing? Coming with. You're not a shinobi. You can't come along. Kumi smirked. You think that will stop me? True, may I ask why? As they left, Naruto locked the door and they headed down the stairs. Kumi smiled. Well, one, I need to do something, and two, I'd rather not have you dying on me. Naruto raised an eyebrow as they left their apartment, briefly waving at the manager. You know that I am more than capable of protecting myself. Kumi nodded as Naruto smirked. You just want to get away from Rinji, don't you? She stumbled, causing Naruto to laugh and give him his answer. Main gates. Naruto and Kumi arrived at the main gates just as Sasuke and Hinata did. They were a few minutes early, but they knew Kakashi would. Yo. Be here already. Sasuke and Naruto blinked before looking up at the sky. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. What are you doing? Checking if pigs are flying. Waiting for the sky to turn blood red. Naruto and Sasuke replied respectively. Kakashi's sweat dropped before looking at Hinata, hoping she would be on his side, only to see she was doing the same thing. Kumi laughed as a cloud of depression appeared over Kakashi's head. Tazuna chuckled at their antics before glancing at Kumi. And who are you, young lady? She looked at Tazuna and nodded politely. Kumi Uzumaki. A pleasure to meet you. Ah, so you're the blonde's mom? Kumi shook her head. No, his mother passed away giving birth. I'm a distant relative of him, though. Tazuna raised an eyebrow before shaking his head. He would never understand ninja families other than one could be related to another by either parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, etc. Kakashi looked at Kumi. So this is the QB. Interesting. Miss Uzumaki, may I ask what bring you here? Oh, I'm coming along. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. As a civilian, I cannot. Kumi pulled out a headband with a symbol that was unknown to Kakashi. I'm a former shinobi, so I can handle myself. She lied expertly. In all honesty, the headband she was holding was one from a trinket shop that sold headbands from random villages that no longer exist. Kakashi sighed. But you still are a. Kumi glared and that shut him up. Kakashi sighed again. Let's get going. He then checked out with Izumo and headed out. Team 7, Kumi, and Tazuna followed him out of the main gates. On the road a little while later. Sometime after they left the village, they had taken up a reasonable formation. Naruto and Kumi in front, Tazuna and Hinata in the middle, and Kakashi and Sasuke bringing up the rear. Hinata had taken up a distracting conversation with Tazuna about the land of waves while Kakashi was trying again to get Sasuke under the ways of perviness. Naruto was conversing with Kumi about his mother. He was curious about her skills and what she looked like since Kumi was the only link to her. Naruto, are you sure you want to know this? This won't fill in the void. Kumi, on the other hand, was trying her hardest to convince him otherwise. I know, but I can't find any information about her besides her birth and death. Excluding what you told me about her. Kumi sighed. Fine. She looked off in the distance. As I told you, she was much like you in personality. Looking at you, I can tell you have her eyes but not the color. Her eyes were a light violet color. Her hair was long and a blazing red. She chuckled. In fact, during her academy days, she was given the nickname of Tomato. Of course, anyone who called her that was promptly beaten to a pulp. Boy, her temper was legendary. That what gave her more famous name around her generation, Red Hot Habanero. She glanced at Naruto and silently chuckled. He was awestruck at the image appeared in his head. Kumi continued. Her specialty was Kenjutsu. Her Kenjutsu was renowned during the Third Shinobi War and gained her final nickname, the Red Death. Naruto's smile could blind the sun. He had learned so much out of so little, and now he had an image of his mother, which was more than he had. Kumi suddenly stiffened, gaining Naruto's attention. What is it? Naruto, do you see that puddle up ahead? Naruto looked and nodded yes. Do you think it is strange? Naruto raised an eyebrow before thinking about it. A puddle in the road is not unusual, but it hasn't rained for several days. Then how is there a puddle in the road? The only way for there to be one is genjutsu. Yep. Naruto remained calm. So what do you want to do? Kumi smirked. Well, we have 3 options. 1, we ignore it and see if they attack. 2, dull. 2, we deal with them as swiftly as possible. Naruto rubbed his chin. Maybe what's number 3? Kumi gained a sadistic gleam. We do it the Uzumaki way. Naruto thought about it then nodded. Uzumaki. Alright, here's what we will do. Nearing the puddle, Kakashi glanced up from his book to notice Kumi and Naruto were ever so casually walking towards the puddle. To a normal person, this would be seen as wandering. But to those with a professional eye, it looked like a plan in formation. His suspicion was confirmed when they slammed down and dug their heels into the puddle. Soon after the pair went past, 2 ninja, who Kakashi identified as the Demon Brothers, appeared where the puddle was holding their groins. Kakashi, Sasuke and Tazuna unconsciously covered their own groins in response. Ugh. Stinking bitch. Kumi smirked as Kakashi approached. Seriously. You should have known that it hasn't rained in weeks. Kumi, I was going to let them attack to see who they were after. Oh, that can still be accomplished. Naruto backed away when he saw the gleam in Kumi's eyes. It was the same gleam Hinata got when she was about to attack someone with extreme prejudice. Kakashi gulped. Alright, but they need to be alive to TNI. Kumi sighed as she grabbed the Demon Brothers' collars. Fine, she then dragged them into the woods. Kakashi sighed. I guess we'll set up camp. Then the screams began. Later campsite. Team 7 and Tazuna gulped as they sat by the fire. It's been 7 hours since Kumi left, and the screams started, and they haven't stopped. What do you think is going on? Naruto shook his head. I honestly don't wish to know. Just as the food was ready, the screams stopped. Then, to their left, came Kumi dragging 2 very unharmed demon brothers. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Genjutsu. Ah. Kumi tossed the brothers near the fire. Tell them. Gozu gulped. We were hired by Gato to kill the bridge builder. Meizu continued. Our boss sent us since he thought as was beneath him. He glanced at Kumi. He was very wrong. Kumi nodded. Very good. Gozu and Meizu sighed in relief before blacking out from 2 chops to the neck. Kumi sighed again. Well, there you have it. Kakashi nodded as he turned to a very nervous Tazuna. Now let's talk, shall we? Tazuna opened his mouth, but Kakashi didn't bother waiting. Mr. Tazuna, those ninja were missing ninja Chunin level at that. When you requested this mission, you said that you'd only need protection from bandits and robbers, which ranked it as AC rank. But with missing ninja, the mission should have been ranked at least AB rank and we would have staffed better. Instead of a team of genin, there would have been at least 1 jonin and 2 chunin. You have lied to us and I am within my rights to abandon this mission. Tazuna's eyes widened. What? Kakashi nodded and Tazuna looked sober for once. We scrapped together as much as we could and the entire village could only come up with enough for AC rank. The reason I lied is because I am currently building a bridge that would link the mainland and the land of waves. And Gato wants you dead because? He has taken over and controls all shipping. He oppresses our people and every day more people give in and give up hope. This bridge is to hopefully break free of Gato's rule.